Fellows, here we go. We are ready to rock, I think. Yep, we are. In 3, 2, 1.
Teleggi Adeleggi. Core!
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Core, the only gaming podcast that's OSHA certified. That means we're all going to be safe today. All right? Stay within the lines. Do not climb over the railings. And make sure...
Where's my hard hat?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, Beau,
your podcast has no railings.
You got to keep track of your own hard hat. I can't keep giving you new ones. All right? So just suck it up. Find your hard hat.
What you're saying is you're going to charge me for my lost hard hat?
Yeah, the company is. I'm just middle management. You can blame them. You can go up the chain.
Can't work if you don't have a hard hat, folks.
Yeah, that's right. But we're here. We're going to talk about gaming this week. You know, that's what we do here at Core. And we got a bunch of things to talk about, and including we got a big top topic today, which we haven't had in a while. We were so busy with Elden Rings and whatnot that we haven't had one. Plus, it's summer, and there's no real big, huge stories, really. But this one's kind of big, so we're covering it. So here it is. Microsoft, there's no Microsoft that I know of, they finally pulled the trigger on the announced Game Pass and announced the Game Pass is going up. This is not a thing that I think anybody thought would last forever. You do loss leader for a long time and then you raise your prices, and that is happening now. So they also have a new tier system in place. This is the one that's making people a little frustrated because they were kind of, there was a lot of talk when Sony introduced tiers to the Plus system, and they were like, man, it's so much easier in Game Pass. Well, now Game Pass has a complicated tier system, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So here's how it works right now. And this is maybe the part where I share this, maybe not. But anyway, right now, if you're paying for, say, Game Pass Ultimate, which gets you console and PC and everything, day one releases, all that, you're paying $16.99. When this change takes place, and including, I think, a new sign up now. So if you're already in, there's a grace period or something. But if you sign up today, it's $19.99. So it's $20 to get Ultimate. It's not a giant increase, but $4 a month increase. And if a million people do that, that's what is that? That's $4 million.
A million people have.
I love that you set these challenges up for yourself that you're not ready to run.
I know.
I know. Making an impossible Mario Maker level that you will never be able to clear, and you're like, I made the hardest level ever, and then you're like, well, I can't beat it, so I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So here it is.
So here it is, guys.
He got there.
I got there eventually, but it's $4 million, and my point is, it seems like small to some people, but it adds up real quick. Anyway, that top tier is getting that increase. There's now a middle tier, or like PC only or console only. Those you're going to pay. No shit, they're not in front of me here. Hold on, let me pull up the list. I don't want to tell that wrong.
List below in the article.
Yeah, the prices are here. Here we go. Game Pass Standard on Xbox alone, $14.99 a month. So pretty close to the old Ultimate price. They're sticking there. And then PC Game Pass only, I think was $10, is now $11.99. So that one went up just a little bit if you're doing just PC only Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass console. Oh, I'm sorry. I screwed this up. Console is just $10.99. So $10.99 console only. PC Game Pass, $11.99 only. And then Game Pass Core is $9.99 a month. It's got nothing to do with us. All right, just for the record, we did not get contacted.
Where's our cut?
Where's our kickback? Our kickback is the fact that they made the cheapest version the one they named after us.
I know, it bugs me, but they did it.
They didn't like what we had to say. Well, get ready, Microsoft.
This one
say more stuff now.
This one's a bummer because this is the same price as it used to be console or PC only, and that included day ones and a bigger library. This is only about 25 Xbox Game Pass games. And online multiplayer, that's included. And some membership deals and discounts. But day one stuff, 6 months to a year. They haven't confirmed this time frame, but that's the internal rumblings and the rumors is that you're going to be 6 months to a year out getting any of their brand new day and date titles. If you have Ultimate or Standard or PC, you'll continue to get those.
I don't understand this. So the Xbox console is $10.99.
Yeah.
Oh, it's for existing subscribers only. Oh my god, it's so.
I know that part.
So a new subscriber can't get that. Okay, so I was like, why do you have a $10.99 tier and a $9.99 tier?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's and like because that's like so silly, but it makes sense now. That's a grandfathered plan, so technically it's not a new offering.
No, that you cannot sign up for that one new, but you can keep it at that price.
So they're basically the same thing, roughly. Yeah. So what you're gonna want to get is Xbox Game Pass Standard, which is the $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And why do they all say access to a limited library of Xbox?
Because
games?
that one is also
that's one titles.
That's like Core. That one is only limited. It's limited titles and no day ones on day one for that $14.99. But that's
a $10 limited one.
Right.
Forget the console one. That's a grandfather one. Let's take that off the list. All right. So for a new customer,
Yeah.
you got Core, $10 a month, 25 Game Pass games, online multiplayer.
Yep.
And deals and discounts.
Right.
Then you've got next step up, Standard, which is 15 and still is a limited library.
Yep.
And it's coming soon. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have Ultimate, which is all the games and the PC games.
Yeah, Ultimate is what it always was. It's just they've raised it to another another $4.
And then so these other two, there's a PC only option.
Mm-hmm.
See, what they should have done is they should take the PC only option and the grandfathered Xbox console and remove this like from the list and just show us you have Ultimate, Standard, and Core. So Core is like basic shit. Standard is like middle between basic and full, and then you got Ultimate, which is full features. Yeah. Then you've got this side tier of side options, which is PC only.
Yeah,
and that's it. The other one's grandfathered. Like, it's good to talk about because it is for existing customers, but it's not no longer a new offer. So technically, it should no longer be on the menu.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too to mention, this $9.99 one does not include cloud gaming. It also does not include EA Play, which is part of the higher tier one. So they're stripping out other crap. So for $19.99 a month, you are going to get what you got with $16.99. That meant all of the Game Pass games, all the EA Play games, all the day one titles, all the other perks, and cloud gaming. Standard does not include cloud gaming either. It looks like cloud gaming will be exclusive to that top tier. And I think that is unfortunate. Not that I use it that much, but I don't like it.
20 is really pushing it. Why not buy an indie game?
Well, here's what I did, Beau. So now let's get to the meat and potatoes. I was already in the mood to get some subs in order and kind of make an accounting of what I was putting out every month versus what I really needed to. And that includes everything from domains that I own to, Nintendo Online, and everything in between. And so one of the two heads that got lopped off this week, and I'm a little surprised it happened because up until this price change, I'm not going to take some crazy stance today, but up until this price change, it was still the best value in games. At 20, I don't think it is anymore, and I don't use it enough to justify it. I use it enough to probably justify the old 14, which we haven't had in a while anyway. And now that that's gone, I'm like, chances are I'm going to spend that 20 on a game or a month of Final Fantasy or WoW or something else. Like I just don't see myself using it the way I used to. And also I'm more prone these days, if a game comes out of Microsoft that I really want or, get excited about, I kind of want it on my Steam Deck. And if I want to do that, it's way better to buy it on Steam. So I'd rather spend my money there, and they're putting them there. It's not like I can't buy them there. And if I was really missing EA Play, that's also on Steam. So I could do that. And for the first time, EA Play games would be on my Steam Deck because it's part of that service. So I finally did it. I'm not a Game Pass subscriber anymore as of yesterday, although I have until next week or something. I think it ends on the 18th, or that was going to be my re-up day. And I also canceled Nintendo Online not because it's expensive. It's $4.25. It's not that it's cheap, but I haven't used it in like 3 years.
Yeah.
I just don't use it. So
Yep.
why am I doing that if I don't use it? Now, this is not me, and I don't think any of us are doing this, but this is not me standing up on some soapbox going, don't let these companies those arguments can be had. I don't even have a problem with those. But all I'm saying is, for me, it was this realization of like, you are really just chucking money at a thing that you're barely using, which is the model. That is the model they hope happens, is that some percentage of people will use it like crazy. Another percentage of people will kind of be in and out. There's a ton of people who just want to have it going and don't ever come use it. And that means clear and easy money to make. They're not actually weighing on the infrastructure of the thing. They're just not using it. And they like when you do that. And I'm not doing that anymore.
It's tax money. You know, it's the term that gets bandied around a little bit, the techno-feudalism business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're in a feudal society. The king can just come take all your crops, leave you with a very minimal amount. Well, in our world, everyone chips at you a little bit, and you don't get anything in return. Yeah, because it's a subscription. Mm-hmm. The service was being provided. It's not our fault if you didn't use it, but the net result at the end of it is you're just giving a company, you're giving Microsoft tax. You're paying extra taxes.
Free money, instead. By the way. I mean, like they do nothing to get it from me.
It should be illegal if there's nothing on the meter. Then no charge. If you like forgot you had it and legit did not use the service, 1 minute, then it's literally theft that you're getting away with on a technicality. Well, you signed an agreement and you could have turned it off, but you're still taking money that you don't really deserve to have.
It's kind of dirty. It's dirty.
Zero service. There's a term for that. It's called slavery. You know, like I just worked in. Like, seriously, $20 might be someone's hourly wage, 2 hours. Yeah. So someone might have spent an hour or 2 hours working just to give Microsoft that money, and you didn't get it. All because you're human, and you're fallible, and forgot it was active.
Yeah, they take advantage of it.
I mean, I agree there should be personal responsibility, but personal responsibility on both sides. So if, like, I accidentally pay you, and I forget, now you've got accidental money. And you can go, oh, maybe I should give that back and say something. Or I should be like, sucker, and put it. You're my friend, so if that happened, you'd probably give back the money. But because it's business, and people are allowed to F each other over in business, that's how business is done, it's super cool, and it's only the person's fault and not the business.
That's interesting. If you gave me $100 and I only expected you to do $10, but you just kept coming to me, I would be a bad friend. Yeah, and if I didn't say anything, I'd be a bad friend.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know companies aren't your friends, but we still hold them to standards of like there's no poison in your ketchup. Like there's at some level they're being held to a standard. Where that standard is the subject of debate. I'm just saying, when they look at their spreadsheets and they say, "Oh, here's a list of 1 million users who paid but did not log into the service once." They're like, should we keep that money or should we give it back? They're like, can't give back money when it's been so freely given. We provided the service. The lights were on. They didn't walk, and they didn't walk into the building. I'm just saying, it kind of makes me hate them. And if they're allowed to keep doing it, great. But it makes me not want to sub to anything at all ever. And I've been on a pretty big rampage of unsubbing maximally where possible. I obviously still have subs. I have patrons I support. I have YouTube Premium that I like. I do have the Uber Eats because unfortunately I eat out and I get discounts from it. So I'm using it. If I'm using it, it's cool. If I am using it, it's totally. If I used it 1 minute, it's cool. Yeah. But in those scenarios where you forget, like how many services do you think you paid a whole month that you paid for that you didn't use a single minute?
Well, I know it happens with streaming services here and there. Like I paid for one. John pre-show was talking about how they paid for Peacock twice for a long time. I was doing that with Paramount Plus for a long time. Figured it out yesterday. Canceled both, and then they gave me a deal on one of them, so I kept it because I got it for like $3 for the next 3 months. But yeah, like there are things like that. And truth is, Kim was actually using Paramount Plus. I just don't know where you're paying twice. So this isn't the best example. But there are definitely things where I don't use them. Nintendo's a good example, although I know I have it. And I get an email every month that says you've been charged, right? So they do by law have to notify you they are charging you. That is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see it, I go, well, maybe this will maybe they'll inspire me to get in and do something in there. And I just never do. And, and I keep wanting to get in and like just to see the state of the retro games they put out on the service and just kind of see where all that's sitting. And then I just don't. And then I think, well, it's only $4.25, and then I just forget about it. But the shit adds up, and now I'm annoyed by it. And it doesn't mean that I'm never going to do it again. When Nintendo has a new console and I'm excited about what they're doing, probably going to sub right up and check it out. But like PlayStation Plus, which I had a couple of times last year, I played what I want and I got out. And I think that's what we are going to have to do until, because what you're saying is I think there's definitely conversation to have around making this more, I hate using the word regulated because everybody turns their nose up to it, but just something that protects consumers better.
Well, I'm a Canadian, so
sure.
We actually have tons of regulations here.
No, that's true. We have a fair amount, but like I'm with you. I'm with you that more of that could happen. But until then, my goal is I'm just going to go, oh, there's a really rad series on such and such streaming service that is it's all out, all 12 episodes. I'm going to get in there and do a month. I'm going to rip through it. And then when I'm done,
at the end of the day, we can yell at clouds about all of it. There's even a couple people in chat that are like, well, that's how things work. And it's like, I know, but we can there's nothing wrong with holding each other to a higher standard. Just because it isn't written in the law doesn't mean we can't expect better. Like, that's why the friend example is good, because we don't expect friends to follow the minimum basic requirements of human interaction. Friends, like, care for each other's feelings and treating them well and stuff like that. That's not written anywhere. So, I still apply those same things to how a company would be treating me. And I think if we were talking about, back when it was just Netflix and just $5 and you forgot and didn't use it, it wasn't an overwhelming force in our lives. It's now an overwhelming force in our lives. Mm-hmm. Like, everything wants a sub,
They've all converted to subs. If they weren't starting as a sub, there's so many things that converted to subs.
There's a shave club that you pay. Food wants to be a monthly sub. Like, everything wants to be a monthly sub. And
why they want to be a monthly sub? It's not that it's the only reason they want monthly subs is because a large percentage of people pay and don't use it. That's why.
Right. And it's the consistent revenues. Like, it's a stable revenue stream if you're able to establish. And that's, at the end of the day, it all comes back to World of Warcraft, right? World of Warcraft blew the lid off of everything. Yeah. A game that could generate that much revenue and monthly subscription fees.
I definitely did that too. I would go months without playing and then realize that I just gave them $80 and I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah, and back in those days, if I didn't play PlanetSide for a month or World of Warcraft, like, I didn't sweat it. I'm like, I like the company and I'm happy and it's cool.
Right.
But it's just overwhelming now. Like, I look at my credit card sometimes. I'm like, I paid $300 and I used 3 of the 10, 12 services. Like, it made me so angry.
That's when you went on your cancel.
I'm working and struggling and trying to and then these guys are just like, thank you. You signed an agreement, terms of service. It's like, I developed a hatred for the way these things are done, because I don't think if someone does not use your services at all, I don't think you should have the right to that money. I'm sorry. Not at the scale we're talking about in this new world. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that's just me.
And it's opened up new businesses that do nothing but help you manage your subscriptions, and those guys shouldn't even exist because we shouldn't have this problem in the first place. And there's this whole other thing to have a discussion about. But John, I'm curious your stance on this. We talked all the time about how for you and I, our first console buy of this generation was a Series X, partly because that was such a killer value. And when you get a house and a family and people who can use it like we use Netflix or something, they can plop down and just play a game or whatever. That seemed really valuable then. But I don't know. I think attitudes maybe have changed. So I'm curious where yours is at.
Yeah, obviously it was very much lauded as a best deal in gaming thing that a lot of people said, and you don't get that reputation and stay the same price forever for the most part. With some exceptions, obviously, but I still think it's a good deal. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I do. I think for maybe for less people, but I still think that for what they are ultimately promising, I still don't think it's a bad deal. That said, or here's the but. I think this is not a great time to do it. I think this is not. I mean, they probably think it's an awesome time to do it. They're like, "Ooh, let's get this done before Call of Duty comes out."
Oh shit! I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like let's lock this in. Let's piss the people off. Let's take whatever hit we need to take before Call of Duty comes out so we can secure as much of that money at the higher amount. Right now, it's tough for me to justify it. We get a little bit of use because we're a household that uses it. So we have the current Ultimate because it means the kids can use the Xbox and have a bunch of games without us having to, on the whims of children, which is very much the same way Scott plays video games. I want a new game today. New game today.
Like walking into an arcade.
Like,
where am I putting my quarters? Yeah.
I just gave you a new game. Why do you need a new game now? But play the game I just got you. Like it's a decent way to facilitate that mentality without breaking the bank. And it works for me. It works for them. So there's still a decent value to be had there. If you're just playing games, if you're just doing your own thing, I mean, first of all, the PC value one is the best deal.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere where they said that the PC is still being incentivized because that's still a market they're trying to grow. That they've seen a lot of Game Pass support for Xbox consoles, but the PC has been slower to grow. So what do you know? PC is about $12, right? And you still get day one, and you still get a lot of those games, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And so this is obviously just a money and attempt to grow and all of that. But right now, they had a really good showing. They had a good showcase. Like, that's the nicest thing we've been able to say about Microsoft in a while. And it's been pretty negative since then. In fact, one of my biggest criticisms to them closing the studios that they did was, to me, it removes a lot of faith that I have in the Game Pass experiment, because it is still very much an experiment. If it wasn't, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would have had it figured out right now. And I lose a little bit of faith when a game can come out on Game Pass and they can go, well, it didn't move enough. Well, what the hell does that mean when it's a game that's coming out for free on your platform?
Yeah.
Like, are you really supporting it properly then? So then upping the price, it's like, okay, well, how is it really doing? Because right now you're telling me that this Game Pass thing is not going great, is what the read is from the outside. And I don't know the internal numbers. I don't know if that's true or not. But when you're closing studios tied to it, when you're raising prices, I start to go, is this working out for them? You know what I mean? And I think the other problem is that I think a lot of people are going to do what you did. I think a lot of people, this is an excuse to look at it and go, how often am I engaging with Game Pass?
Yeah.
And when they see what that answer is, I think there's a lot of people that are going, it could be $3 a month. And if you never play anything on Game Pass, that's a bad deal in gaming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what the monthly fee is if you're not ever using it. And I think a lot of people are going to look at it now and go, oh, this isn't a great deal.
Yeah.
I think it's a great deal for someone, but not a great deal for me. I think a lot of people are going to cancel. So we're going to see ultimately where this goes. If this ends up being a smart move for them, they got a lot of games coming out. Again, that showcase was pretty lauded by people, but part of that, celebration was, oh, I'm going to be able to play all these games at the price that I'm currently playing. Now you're saying, okay, you're going to be able to play all these games at $20 a month, or $12 on PC if it's coming to PC.
Yeah.
And that's a different discussion than what you might have been feeling at the time.
They changed the terms on us a little bit.
And so we will have to see how people ultimately feel. I think this could maybe benefit Microsoft in the long term, but right now, short term, I don't think this is a smart move.
No.
I don't think this is good.
I don't either. I'm sure they all are their own reasons. Here's a quick bit of math for you. It'll cost you $240 a month or a year rather for Game Pass Ultimate, which if 10 million people, I don't even know what their current, it's more than that, but let's just say only 10 million people are using it. That's $2.4 billion in total revenue for Microsoft. And if you're like, well, wait, how much more are they going to make off of those 10 million just by increasing the price if they're already paying? The answer to that is we will pay an extra 60 per month, or excuse me, per year. And that means $600 million in increased revenue. Like they don't have to change this stuff much to have massive revenue increases.
They also know their churn rates too. Like
Yeah.
we don't have access to that information, but they know how many accounts cancel in a month, in a year, and how many new signups happen, how many old signups that come back, and they could probably model that out over the next 5 years, even without growth, and figure out where they want to be. But yeah, no, it's a large amount of revenue, even though it feels like it's not their biggest oven in the burner in terms of revenue, from Microsoft as a whole.
Oh, definitely not.
Because, like so many governments, so many businesses are on Windows and Teams, and, they do have services that people do have to pay for. You might have gotten your Windows for free or cheap, or your Office for cheap, but the enterprise rates for a lot of that stuff are high, and they got those guys over a barrel probably with contracts and stuff like that. So
yeah, their biggest moneymaker right now is cloud. It's Azure. Microsoft Azure makes them billions upon billions of dollars a year. I don't know what the current number is, but it's a lot year over year.
So I don't feel too sympathetic about them about dragging them for stuff like this, because I think I guess a lot of us who listen to the show, who are in this community, probably are also buying games places too. So it's not, I think the value of this goes up the less you actually spend in gaming broadly too, right? So if this is your only purchase, this is probably making your day and useful to you. But most gamers I know have all the consoles. So they might just be sub to Xbox or sub to PlayStation. They got Nintendo Switch account going. Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
And they're buying stuff on Steam to play on their Steam Deck. Yeah. It's just at a certain point, maybe you have enough disposable income that you don't notice, but I think it sucks. It's not that it sucks. I think it's already too expensive for what it is. I think this should be like $5. Like I think $20 is a big ask for this kind of thing, personally.
I mean, I felt like 15.
It's just an opinion, and it doesn't,
Ultimate letting me go back and forth with Ultimate, I thought was a really good deal, a value, because there are a lot of games there, and these devs don't want to get paid, and some of these deals are, I don't know how Microsoft's arranged it with some of the smaller devs, but when they put their games on Game Pass first, how does that work? I don't know. Like, do they get good money for that? Is that a valuable thing for them? Does it help just get them noticed? Like, I don't know what the value proposition is for that stuff.
For their own games on game?
No, like let's say you're a smallish developer and you're putting out Lords of the Fallen is a good example. It's kind of a competitor in the Souls-like genre, but it's a smaller team, whatever. You put out that game. It's in other places. You can buy it in other places, but you put it on Game Pass. Well, what's the advantage to you? And I'm not saying I know this because I don't know, but does Microsoft pay them a largish amount of money? Is it based on how many people actually install and play? Do you pay Microsoft some money to be in there? Like, I don't know who's scratching whose back in that arrangement, because they don't talk about it. This is not. I
gotta assume the money's going in the direction of the developer, because people install it and will play it, thereby trumping. I suppose something like League or a big company might actually pay to have. I could see that happening maybe, but I think probably mostly the money goes their way. But the rest of it, you're right. It's it's just, I sort of assume it works like Epic when Epic gives away the games for free. Like, so they are getting, guaranteed revenue. But I bet everyone's deal is just different. Like, they probably do math to determine your valuation. Like, if you're an indie developer, you're not getting the same rates as Bethesda. It's already true on Steam, right? Certain vendors actually pay Valve less of their cut than others.
Right.
Depending on negotiated contracts. And I'm sure that's true. I'm sure, like, basically, if you're like, please put my game on Steam, they're like, we're only doing a 50-50 revenue split with you. Because, you're not, whatever you negotiate, whatever you negotiate. I'm guessing that's how it works. Basically.
Well, here's what Phil Spencer said in an interview back in November of 2020. So it's been a bit. Things change. But this is the only time he's really spoke about it. They said, "What are the deals? How do they work?" And he says, "Our deals are, let's say, all over the place." That sounds.
Yeah, okay.
He says that sounds unmanaged, but it's really based on the developer's need. He says one of the things that's been cool is to see a developer, usually a small to mid-sized one, might be starting a game and say, "Hey, we're willing to put this game on Game Pass on our launch day. If you guys will give us X dollars now, what we can do is this." We create a floor for them in terms of the success of their game. They know they're going to get this return and so on. So it sounds like it might be even every one of these is a little different. There's no standard.
It's negotiated contract based on whether they're trying to entice them to join Game Pass or whether they're like offering themselves up. Like, I want to be on Game Pass. Well, whatever your leverage is will dictate what you're getting. There's a developer in the chat room. Marzipan says, it's usually a lump sum to be on Game Pass.
Okay, so if I had a game,
not even recurring.
So
it's
if I'm
10 million.
Okay, so if I'm Pal World, and Pal World has some sway because they think there's a lot of hype. We got this many wishes on various platforms. Microsoft will do this day one, but we're going to need 10 million or whatever.
Yeah,
and then they agree to it.
Yeah, they might say we have 10 million to put in Game Pass. Microsoft comes back and says 4 million, and then you agree on 6.
Okay, yeah, so it's probably like something like that. So they probably do it as an individual. Every individual basis is different. It's funny because Steam, the way they do it, as best I understand it, is they have $100. You pay $100 on Steam. Marzipan can tell me if I'm wrong on this. $100 get your game on Steam, and then if you hit $1,000 in sales, you get the $100 back, or something like that. It's like getting your
a deposit.
Yeah, like a security deposit, basically.
Yeah, escrow or whatever.
Which makes sense, right? Because you can't come around there with like Orc Massage 4.
Orc Massage is a real game on the platform, so let's not use that as an example.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't mean it's shit. I just mean like there's no record. You don't have. If that's a new thing, Valve needs to know you're being serious. And $100 isn't even that hard to be serious about, but it's good that they do, I think,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who definitely intend to make a game who don't, who could not be serious, and there's steps in place to protect them from that.
Yeah.
But they were serious about making bananas, so I don't know if quality of game really corroborates that.
Oh, that's a good point. Didn't think about that.
If people are willing to pay or play, then they'll host your game.
Well, I appreciate Marzipan's input. That's cool. I didn't know.
Well, yeah, and it seems like it can be. I mean, you can see an advantage for a developer if you're an indie dev and you're coming up short. You're like, I don't know how we're gonna get to publish our game. We need this much money to facilitate the rest of development. Maybe going to Microsoft and saying, hey, we're trying to make our game here. We can get it done, and we will launch on Game Pass if we can get X amount of money to put it out. Maybe they, in effect, foot the bill for the game to come out, and then you just bank on other platforms then to get additional revenue beyond that.
That kind of thing, though, makes me feel like it's bullshit that Valheim is on the Game Pass.
Oh,
because
maybe
it's an early access game.
Yeah.
So they got a bunch of money in sales from the hype, and then they got a lump sum from Microsoft to be on Game Pass. I was like, launch the game. Why are we not 1.0 yet? Like, how much money do you need before we get to Jesus?
So
it's a little double dippy, I guess. I don't blame them, but
there's apparently some leak that happened some time ago. I just found another grouping here. So this was September of last year, and this leak had an expected partner ask list that leaked from Microsoft. And here's these prices. Lego Star Wars, $35 million. Up front. Just here you go. Here's your money. Dying Light 2, $50 million. Red Dead Redemption 2, $5 million a month. They had a special deal, apparently, or would if they made the deal. Dragon Ball The Breakers, $20 million. Hey, John, look at that. Look at your Dragon Ball.
But do we know if this is true? Or?
These are expected partner asks that were in a document from Microsoft where they listed what they were expecting to have to negotiate with these.
Oh, okay.
So they were prepared.
They're not negotiated deals. There's somebody's presentation to the board about.
Correct.
Wasn't there one of these where this is where it was revealed that Microsoft did not expect anything from Baldur's Gate 3?
I think
Wasn't
maybe
it from one of these leaked documents?
Yeah,
yes,
Baldur's
there
Gate
it
on
is.
that list.
There it is. Baldur's Gate 3, 5 million is all. That's the lowest number on here.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it was. I was gonna say I feel like I've seen this list actually.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor,
yeah.
300 million. Mortal Kombat 1, 250 million.
We're not gonna need any money to court Baldur's Gate 3. Nobody gonna play that shit.
Oh my gosh.
The industry's in shambles. So they gave Baldur's Gate 3 nothing, and they gave Mortal Kombat 1, arguably a big game, 250. It seems like they're overpaying for Mortal Kombat and underpaying.
Yeah, but neither one of those are on Game Pass.
Games. I'm not throwing shade at any of them. I know we have a few listeners over at
Right, but keep in mind these are ones that are not actually on Game Pass. These were ones that were in negotiation, and these were the
this
expected.
is what they expected to have to pay.
Yeah,
because Baldur's Gate 3 didn't even come out on Xbox.
No, never did. I don't think MK1 has
well,
yet either.
It did eventually,
no, it did,
but
eventually.
it didn't. And it didn't.
Oh, for just to buy, yeah, but it never came on Game Pass.
After they were like, "Oh, people like." Huh?
Yeah, but that game's straight up not on Game Passes, which is really the point here. Because we're not talking about deals to sell on Microsoft's platform.
Yeah, because probably there was no amount Microsoft was willing to pay for that game that was good enough for the money they literally already made 4 years in early access.
According to this leak, 250 million for Suicide Squad. Boy, that would have gone south real hard.
Whoa! Can you imagine? Whoa!
That game's about to be free during Prime days.
Is it on Game Pass?
No, it's not. They didn't do it.
Okay, they dodged a bullet. Because imagine negotiating that before the release, right? Because then not only would Warner Brothers, I guess the studios, be out money, but Microsoft will have spent that money on a turd. They didn't give them any. It wasn't on Game Pass at all.
No, that one's not on Game Pass. No.
They dodged a bullet, man. They could have lost $250 million right there.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, 300 million, and that is on Game Pass. I don't know if that's what they ended up paying, but that's on there.
That's crazy. So when you're offering 300 million to have the game on there, you're saying we think we have enough players who wouldn't buy the game who would play it to have it on the server. You know what I mean? Like how many copies?
They think
Scott, we need some of your math skills.
They see. Oh boy, don't count on those.
How many copies of
But here's the thing: they do that because that would drives Game Pass subs. That's why. And they
say $80. All right, that's 4.3 million copies of the game that they're giving them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So like it's just kind of so basically that if they take that deal, let's just assume that's the deal they took. We don't know. Then they've effectively made 4.3 million in sales and haven't without actually selling the game.
Yeah. And
then they get to sell it in other places too.
Yeah. Like people will still buy it. Not everyone's a sub, and there's other platforms, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, and now with PlayStation's probably they're probably a game now with this, right? So let's say you're Neversoft and you got Mortal Kombat 1. Xbox says, "Hey man, we'll give you 250 mil, we'll give 250 millis to have your game on Game Pass," and you go,
Millies.
"Well, Sony just swung by."
No, because you called it millies. I don't deal with clowns.
Sony just swung by the crib here at Neversoft and offered us 500 large millies, and you're like, "Oh." What are you going to do for me? And then that's why the prices go up, because now there's a jockeying war between probably Sony and
Sony doesn't have that kind of cash. They don't have that deep. That's part of their problem is they don't do their day one stuff is abysmal.
I'm just saying right now, I think game companies might be making it hard for those guys to provide the service, because when there's one service, it's one thing. When there's competing services, I'm sure these negotiation games are being played.
Well, see, this is a good question. What was that indie game that I really liked? It played the classic SNES game that we all love, and my brain isn't working. What was that called? Sea of Stars or Sea of Stars? Was it Sea of Stars?
Star Tropics?
Sea of Stars.
Earthbound.
That's that role-playing game.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Sea of Stars. So
that
showed up on everything day one. So it was on Game Pass day one, PlayStation Plus day one, and you could buy it day one on, of course, Steam and all the other things. So that's a very curious one, right? They were probably asking very little because they're small, and everybody said, sure, why not? I don't know.
250 millis is too low. How about $100,000? right?
I mean, yeah.
So Xbox is like 100 grand, and Sony's like, we'll do 20,000, and you're like, Xbox, give me 100 grand. You don't want to miss having one of the biggest games of the year on your platform. Give me 100 grand too.
Again,
You know what I mean?
Oh, it just feels kind of scuzzy, all this. You know, it
I
feels
mean,
like
but
making
that's
deals.
definitely that. I mean, if I thought of it, they've thought of it. Like I'm not the first to think of this by a long shot. Like that's happening. Like now they get to play games negotiating those things, which means it's probably driving the price up for somebody, and the prices get driven up. You know, if people are willing to pay more for Sony and Xbox is cheaper, Xbox is gonna put their prices in the same realm probably. Since that's
think
what the
Microsoft
market
shows
will
up
bear.
at those meetings with one of these in their hands, like a big wad of cash, and they're just like, "All right, who's coming to Game Pass?"
No, I don't think they give all the money to the employees. I think
throw it in the middle of the table. This
is
you.
And by the way, this is fake. Nobody docks me. This is fake. It's blank. This is a movie prop. I bought it.
Dox
on Amazon.
you, send the police to collect your fake money.
To
Is
get my
that
fake cash.
The grand internet plan.
Yep.
Like, oh.
Yeah, or come
It is
steal
illegal.
it.
It is illegal though to videotape. It's a crime to videotape money, isn't it?
Real money? I don't know. This is fake money. So I don't think it's.
I think to take photographs and to video it.
I recommend this though.
In my country, it might be.
This is like $8, and you go on Amazon. You can buy bundles of cash like this that look like drug money, and you just buy them as a movie prop. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of things that were worth my $8. Anyway, that's that's the deal. I don't know, man. When I canceled it, it felt good because I'm just. It's not that $20 would be the end of my life. It's just that your value proposition changed, and also how I'm playing and where I'm playing will change. Right now, I'm completely hooked on an MMO at the moment, and it's hard for me to want to spend a lot of time on any other subscription than that. So while that's active, and when WoW's new expansion hits and I switch over to that and I play that, like when these things are active, do not expect me to just keep in the background a thing that gives you money I get nothing from anymore. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is value proposition is going to be different for everyone. Like, again, it's one of those things where it's very, my gut reaction was like, cancel it. We don't need it. I don't use Game Pass that often. Then I thought about it and I was like, oh, it serves the household. It's not just me that benefits the subscription. The value proposition for my household is very different than what it would be for me by myself, and very different from what it would be for anybody listening to this. So it's a case where I feel like value is a tough conversation to have because everybody's metric for that is going to be different. Beau didn't think it was a great value before they raised prices. He damn sure isn't going to think it's a good value now.
Right.
So it's one of those things where everybody's going to hit differently. So all you really have to judge it on is like, okay, what are sort of the universal truths of this? And I feel like this is a step back away from consumer friendliness. Is it still ultimately a good deal? You know, your mileage is going to vary, but this feels a little less consumer friendly than what we had before. So I think it's kind of a step backwards, in my opinion. And I think that the evidence of that is how difficult it was to talk about the tiers of it and understand what is going on with it.
Yeah.
And I think that obfuscation is probably intentional to help Microsoft.
Yeah.
I 100% think it's a good value for kids. Like, because I know their demand for things can be high, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You buy them one game, they're sick of it in a week, they want you to buy another one. You're like, I'm not buying another game. Game Pass kind of like, here you go. You know, here's a
ton of games. Yeah, go find one you like, and they may even find one they love. And when it gets pulled, you pay a discounted price. Like, there's a lot of reasons why this is valuable. This is not I want to make this very clear, and maybe people, whatever, they get weird about stuff. But this is not like hey, we're bashing Microsoft Day. That's not what this is. It's just reevaluate what you value, and they're doing that. They're reevaluating what we think we value. So what do you value? And I'm not even saying everybody band together and screw these companies. We gotta show them what, I don't care what people do with their $20 a month. Go for it. Pay for it. Not a problem. I will resub when it makes sense. Like when I'm like looking down the barrel of some of the really good looking, amazing first party games that are coming, I will make decisions like, am I buying this on another platform, or am I going to go ahead and sub and play this here? Like I'll do those things, and I will be efficacious about how I do it and when I cancel and all that. And their announcement helped me do this. So to Microsoft's credit or discredit, they did it. They're the ones that got me to do it. And it affected everybody. Hover.com's getting about half what I used to pay him. There's 2 or 3 streaming services that I'm not going to do anymore, and one that I was doing twice that isn't going to happen anymore. And they're giving me a discount. Like, Microsoft put me on a path. Yeah.
The Prime thing really pissed me off. Yeah.
Yeah, the Prime thing's, right now, the current market cap listing for the top 4 companies are Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Alphabet, which is Google. I just wanted to point that out because Microsoft has a market cap right now of $3.379 trillion. That means they can throw $250 million at bad games like Justice or Suicide Squad without blinking. They have so much money, you guys. It's just, it's never going to be, oh, they really cut themselves this time with this price increase. They're going to fall. No, they're not.
Nobody's losing sleep as much as the gaming press will lead you to believe it is.
Yeah.
So don't you stay up all night worrying about this shit.
The big Tencent, by the way, 19th on this list with a $461 billion market cap. Not that high. Just it's for everyone that thought Tencent would just take everything over. Not so much. They got Samsung beat by a position. Anyway. And Costco, Costco with their $375 billion market cap. Good Lord.
I think they're all doing just fine.
Don't buy, you know what, though? Don't buy Tesla stock. That looks like it's tanking. Yeah, they're down to 12th and dropping. That's not good.
I mean, wouldn't buy anything associated with that buffoon.
I would buy, if I could get a good deal on it, I'd get like a Model X. Those are pretty good. They're good cars. That's what I would be interested in. But I'm probably more likely to go, you know what? I really like Volkswagen's new electric. Or there's competition now, so there's no reason just to go, the one holy EV to buy is Tesla. You don't have to do that anymore. There's lots of choices. And if I had the real money, like the big money, I'd probably get that Rivian truck thing they got. That thing's badass. Really cool electric vehicle. Anyway. There's all that. Let's move on to what we played this week in gaming because it's really what the people want to hear. They want to hear what dumb shit we all put our time in. And you're going to find out. Let's start with Final Fantasy 14. Now 2 positions behind.
But Scott, if we're talking about that at the opening, that means that more than one of us played it.
It sure does. Turns out.
Does that happen?
Oh, yeah. That's almost all I played this week.
Sorry, I missed the name of I thought it was a different game. Sorry.
Yeah, 100% Final Fantasy.
I thought you were going to jump into your list. I didn't realize we had shared.
Oh yeah, no, Quest Masters.
Of course we did. Of course we did. Our core chat is. I literally am talking about something else, and John pops in. Look at how beautiful the zone is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, shut up about the other topics, Beau. It's Final Fantasy time.
It is all.
It's cool. It's cool.
All
I just
the
thought
time.
it was funny.
So let's actually start with John. You beat at least the MSQ, the straight line story. Plenty more to do, obviously, but of Dawn Trail, and that was pretty fast. You did it in not that fast.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm done. I did it.
You did the whole thing. You beat Final Fantasy again. I mean, I say, there's plenty to do. But
beat it again.
Did you lock your kids in a cage until you were finished?
Yeah.
No, they went out of town for a week.
Oh, that's right.
So kind of a more humane way of having the same concept.
Yeah.
So what did you think then? This is a new expansion, and we want to hear.
It was great. I had a great time with it. This expansion has been interesting. It has a mixed reception on Steam, which is a little tricky when you look at reviews on Steam for DLC because it does not, the played time, like how long has somebody played this, how many hours on play, is only reflected in the main game. Yeah. It's not reflected for DLC that you add. But there has definitely been a level of like a slightly colder reception to this expansion than maybe others. Although everyone I've talked to liked it. Like almost everyone I've spoken to that has played it, that has gotten through it, has said roughly the same thing that I'm going to say, which is I loved it. I thought it was great. I can see why it wouldn't be for everybody. There is some criticisms that I think can be levied at it that I think are probably fair, but didn't at all apply to me. And I thought it was really good. In fact, this is going to be a spoiler-free review. But probably the closest I will dance to spoilers is just to say that I was going in expecting very much a return to A Realm Reborn. We're going to a new place. It's going to be a bunch of new stories starting. It's going to be a bunch of new characters. Like, a lot of things are going to be starting over. And so I kind of expect it to be a little slower, a little more, mundane than certainly, putting a cap on these epic stories that have now gone multiple expansions. And I think that this one, for I'd say 2/3 of it, was exactly that. Like, meets expectations as far as that goes. And then it veers widely off course and becomes something crazy different that I really, really enjoy.
After you sent those screenshots the other day,
well, yeah, be careful.
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I won't say a thing about them except that I was a little beside myself. I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, wait a minute, what? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. So is that what you mean? Like, that's the turn it took?
Yeah, and like some of the stuff we knew about, like there were certainly some screenshots that they themselves had posted where it was like, but what's going on? But the story I thought was going to definitely be like, oh, I think I see what the cycle of this story is going to be, and then we're about halfway through the leveling journey, and it felt like that was kind of wrapping up, and I was like, whoa. What is the rest going to be? In fact, there was even a point where I thought I had beat the game and there was more game to go because I just lost track of where I was because I actually hit level cap about halfway through the story. So when you're not leveling up at the level that the quests are at, when you're just at max level going through it, you kind of lose that benchmark that says, oh, you're doing this at this level, you're doing this at this level. Which honestly, that fact is a testament to how good the dungeons and the armor sets are, because the reason I maxed out halfway through is I kept rerunning dungeons over and over again to get the dungeon sets because I thought the armor looked rad. And I was like, oh, I gotta get that. I gotta see that. Let's go do that.
And that's what over leveled you, do you figure?
Going through dungeons you'll get almost half a level per dungeon run.
Jeez.
So you do a dungeon a couple times, and next thing you know, you're considerably higher than what you would have been.
Yeah.
And I took my time. I did side quests. I did a lot of, which I usually don't do. I usually don't do the side quests, but there were a few that really caught my eye that I really enjoyed. So I thought the story was really good. I had a great time with it. As far as like expansions go, post like the patch content that's going to come out between now and whatever the next expansion is going to be, can do a lot of heavy lifting. From a base product level, Stormblood, I think, is the worst expansion they ever did. I think Stormblood is worse than A Realm Reborn.
Shit.
But the post MSQ content, the patch content that came out after, is some of the best content they've ever done.
Does it neutralize?
It lifts the entire thing up because it's like, oh, you know what? This is so good that it's making everything else better, in my opinion. So right now, if I was gonna try and judge purely on the 0.0 release of all the content, right? So I'm not taking into account any of the patch content because it's unfair to judge an expansion that doesn't have patch content against an expansion that does. If I'm going off of what is in the base level product for each of these, I don't think it's as good as Shadowbringers. I don't think it's as good as Endwalker. I don't think it's as good as Heaven's Ward. I would probably put it below Heaven's Word and above A Realm Reborn and Stormblood.
Interesting.
So it's kind of middle of the pack. But you know what? I like all of them. I don't dislike any of Final Fantasy. So that's putting it right in the middle of a thing I like, and I'm 100% okay with that.
Well, that's good to hear, because everyone expecting, I don't know what people expected. I guess they kind of, like, your expectations felt realistic to me even leading up to this and you talking about it. You knew there was kind of a reset coming. and
Yeah.
resets take time, and you have to express the game in a whole new place, a whole new world, whatever. There's the other aspects of the game, like just the general glow up of the graphics and texture resolutions and all of that stuff is really great. Like, fundamentally, this feels like a really important expansion in that one way, even. And so it feels a little bit like the way WoW would do it when they came out with Warlords of Draenor. The big innovation there was all the character models got redone, or most of them. I guess they still had to do Blood Elves. But the expansion itself wasn't the greatest. I don't think it's as bad as people talk about. But it felt like maybe the focus was on other things, and one of those things was making things look better. And so maybe there's a little of that going on. Is that a fair thing to say?
Maybe it doesn't feel content light though. Like that's the thing is Warlords of Draenor felt like, and even Cataclysm to a degree felt a little like the story content suffered because the attention had to go somewhere else. This doesn't feel like that, but it does feel like there's a constant momentum. Like Realm Reborn, everybody says very slow. You get to Heaven's Ward, and that's where things start building. That's where the wheels start turning. And Stormblood is not as I'm making it sound like Stormblood is really bad. It's not.
Yeah.
But the wheels start turning, and by the time you hit Shadowbringers and you hit Endwalker, like it's firing on all cylinders, and it's just going. It's just racing to a finish line. At some point, we're gonna hit the brakes, right? Like at some point when a story ends, you have to. I mean, anybody who has ever read a book knows what it's like to pick up the next book in the series. You are not hitting the ground running on chapter 1. You are working your way up. And, a lot of these characters that people talk about, and I would say one of the biggest things that I have seen as a criticism is people not liking the primary new character that gets very heavily focused on this expansion. I think I liked her. I thought she was great. I never had an issue traveling with her, but
she the axe cat lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the truth is, like, most of the characters in take any Final Fantasy fan and say, what's your opinion of Alphino when they're in a Realm Reborn and and Heaven's Ward? In fact, Scott, what's your opinion of Alphino?
I like him more in Heaven's Word than I did in Realm Reborn. I'll say that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Most people
actually
do.
Kind of a lot more. It's a substantial.
The white hair guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He's one of the twins.
One of the twins, and I found him almost unbearably obnoxious in Realm Reborn, and in this one, I really like him. Like, it's a complete turnaround for me. He's sympathetic. He's interesting. He's got all the stuff I want out of that character. He's great.
Most people will tell you exactly what you just said. I didn't like this character at first. They grew on me.
Yeah.
So I don't fault anybody. If a character's not resonating with you, I'm not going to be like, well, they should have resonated with you. Like, no, you felt the way you felt. But, like, let's also remember where we came from. We came from a game that was incredibly slow to start. So saying, like, well, Dawn Trail's slow. Okay, so is A Realm Reborn. Well, I don't like the character. Okay, well, I didn't like most of the characters either. I was like, I was like, they're fine. Let's see where it goes. And, that's not going to make you, the fact that it could get better isn't going to make you like what's there now. I'm not trying to say anybody should, again, like something they don't like, but it's building. We're building something. We're early days. We haven't even seen what the patch content's going to be yet. So, I think this is a great starting point. I really like the world. I really like a lot of the characters. I really like a lot of the concepts. This game did not go quite so heavy on the nostalgia to Endwalker was a little overly nostalgic, in my opinion, for Final Fantasy IV. Now, there are people who absolutely love Final Fantasy IV that were probably eating that up, and it was amazing, but it was a little too referential for me as somebody that likes Final Fantasy IV, but I don't think it's the greatest. But then I found out I have a bias because this one gets a little nostalgic towards another Final Fantasy that I am a little passionate about. And once it started doing that, I was like, this game's magnificent. What a miracle. What a time and age we live in. It's referencing the Final Fantasy I really like.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was quite a journey. I can't wait for more. And it ended well with me intrigued to see what's next. So
nice. That's all I
can't ask for more. It's a great start to a new journey, in my opinion.
Well, I beat Realm Reborn finally after 3 years or so poking at it, hopping in, getting out, not playing for a year, playing some more, working my way around, and then finally I just went, you know what, I'm going for it. And I really like, we've talked about this on the show before, but I just like this whole idea that you play it differently than other MMOs. And once you get that through your head, it's pretty great. Like, you don't want to get out. So I beat it, and I got to the end of that story. I did all this stuff. That was pretty wild, and it ended in ways I didn't see coming. And I was surprised. My expectations were that was the one that was the weakest, and therefore I would find the ending kind of weak. I didn't at all. I thought all that stuff was rad.
It ends really intriguing, honestly. It's
yeah, it makes you excited for Heavensward, I can tell you that. Like,
yeah.
All the things you want out of kind of, not a cliff. It's not like cliffhanging, but there's just a lot of things that go down. You're like, oh, I would need to know where this goes now, or I need to know more about that, or whatever.
And you're sucked in.
They really sucked me in. So
I think that's the official term, is sucked in.
So that felt good, though. Felt good to just finally say I did a thing. And then I dived into Heavensward and immediately had to talk to dragons and all this other shit. And I think I figured out the dragon beef from years ago may have come more from, it's part of it is this glow up that the game's experienced, because so much looks better. But there are some things that haven't changed, right? And I saw these dragons, so I'm talking to not Nidhogg, but his buddy, his blood brood brother. What's his name?
Trace Valgar.
Yeah. How do you know how to say these effing names? They're the worst.
He's important.
He practices in the mirror.
We're buddies. We hang out. We do things together. We see each other on the weekend.
I do it like Beau. Beau and I both do this, but I make up names for shit. It's like, he's like, who's that? Oh, that's Dragoneer, the Great. Chodlinger. Yeah, it's like stuff like that. Two Button Terry is the idea. But anyway, I noticed something in this when I got to him, and we're having that conversation up on his spire up there. And those who play know what I'm saying. Others are like, what are you even talking about? But anyway, I'm talking to him, and he doesn't look that great. Over time, his textures have gotten a little rusty. But I realized looking at that I think that may have been my issue in the first place. He just was a little low res because it's older, right? It's an older expansion. And seeing versions of that worm in the world that have been improved, they're not an eyesore anymore. They look pretty cool. So I'm not fully capitulating that they're the better dragons. I will just say that I gave a lot of shit to them, I think, based on that.
Well, and I will also say
you changed.
Yeah.
It's
you're starting to love them. You're starting to love the Final Fantasy dragons. You need
my
to let
love
it go,
for
Scott,
Final Fantasy dragons is not a visual love. I don't ever look at Trace Valgar and go, man, good looking dragon. I go,
wait, this is what Dragon Beef is all about.
Man, that's an awesome dragon because he's cool, because the story is cool. Yeah. And I think Scott's getting lured in. He's starting to see it's not just about a good model. There's a story there.
There is more.
And there's a concept with the idea that dragons live so long that if you do something bad to them, like 100 years is nothing to them. So they're still pissed about it 100 years later. So if you go up to somebody and steal their lunch money and then die of old age, they're still pissed, and they're like, where can I find the asshole who stole my lunch money? And they're like, well, he died, but his kid's around. Well, I'm gonna go collect my money from his kid then. Like, it deals with this concept of like, how do you let go of anger that lasts so long and like is so generational and so important to both sides. especially when the crimes are a lot more serious than stealing lunch money.
Plus, what helps this whole thing, and I agree with what you're saying, is the voiceover in Heaven's Word is 100% better, and at least 60% more than we were getting with the first one. The first one has some really bad VO early on, and what little it has, right? There's barely any. It's mostly talking. I realized they were shoestringing it, trying to fix a broken MMO, doing all they could, and it's amazing what they pulled off. But this is like proper. Nobody's phoning it in. Everybody talking in this, including the dragons. They're doing weird languages and stuff, so it's it's not English.
I thought Dragon Beef was about which dragons were allowed on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Well, I'd still give it. I'd still be in favor of ESO dragons if that's the case.
Yeah,
I think there's sexier dragons for sure. But the
Sports
voice
Illustrated, yes, because there's a physicality, but there's not much depth.
I thought it was about the physicality, like it was like the classic D&D muscly dragon look is like the superior look. The artsy JRPG. Oh, I'm a dragon, but I have emotions.
Yeah, but see, I think John's point is, and I think I understand it, is if you are dating a complete and total hottie, oh my gosh, that will only last so long, and soon enough you're going to be faced.
You're right about that, but I don't think that's the beef went that far. I think it was. I think about who had the hotter dragons.
Yeah, well,
on dragon scale hotness.
I want a dragon that I can talk to.
Well, they're definitely
that I can have a conversation with.
There are still those exist in ESO. You talk to them all the time. It's just that. And I don't want to besmirch ESO dragons because I think that in their elsewhere expansion, the story around that was awesome. Those dragons were very cool. They had a great story, but there is a depth to this world because I'm paying attention now. I'm not text skipping and quest skipping and story skipping the way people do when they play WoW. I'm not doing that here. I'm paying attention. And as it turns out, the writing in this is crazy. The writing is really good. It's not cheeseball anime bullshit. It may look on the surface like it is, right? Yeah. I'll walk into a room and go, that guy's supposed to be 60. He looks like a teenager.
Yeah, they're old people, especially early on, are real rough.
They're really rough. I mean, there's those kinds of tropes are all around this game. But when they give voice to them especially, and you really pay attention to what's being said and what's being written, this isn't poorly translated localization. This is like epic Game of Thrones season 4 type shit. And it's intense and big and, a lot of just like drama going on without what I expect to be the usual anime tropes. The only thing I don't like that the game does, and it's not that big a deal. I noticed in your video they're still doing it. But anytime anybody has to really think about something, here's my impression of them. They go,
yeah, there's a lot of...
And then they come back.
Now we're going to do our thinking face.
Yep, they do that. And the little ones doing their whole... that bullshit. Like, I hate that some of that...
Yeah, but you know what? Then he got cut in half. So what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, fair point. But they really got me with this stuff early on in Heaven's Word. And... I don't know. It's just meaningful. I just got through, John, you'll know where this was. I just got through with the bit where there is it's to keep it, I mean, it's an old expansion, but to keep it kind of spoiler free, it's a prominent father's son who is a knight who, after a dungeon run, I have a whole thing to say about dungeons. There's a dude up on the castle somewhere, and he fires like a big rod of electricity, and it pushes on the shield until it busts through. That shit was good. Like, all of that was meaningful, palpable, emotional. Like they're not just phoning it in. And I really appreciate that about this run through. There's a couple of things. Dungeons with NPCs is my favorite feature of an MMO in the history of ever, because it used to be, I feel like I just hit a wall and go, I don't want to work with strangers on this, and all my friends aren't online. And like, I hate that. I absolutely hate the forced sort of thing, even though, by all reports, it's a friendlier place to do that. But being able to go to those dungeons and just go in and go and have have these NPCs, and most of the cases, they're the NPCs that are part of the story that we're all there to do. So
that's one of the big changes from A Realm Reborn into, like, especially going forward, is who you're running with makes a lot more sense. Like in A Realm Reborn, it was like, hey, go do a dungeon. Here's some dipshits to go with you, and just some people showed
just
up.
randos.
But now, like, it used to kind of not make sense, because it would be like you're there with all your buddies, and they're like, all right, we're gonna run this dungeon. Go run it, and then they all show up at the end. It's like, well, what were you doing? Like, they always had to come up with a reason why they weren't there, which never really made sense. And now they get to be there. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's very good. And you see them all standing there with you, and you're like, oh, this was where we were all going next. This is great. My favorite over the top anime moment was can't think of his name, the dragoon guy, Estinian. He gets up there and he slices Nidhogg. And now his black armor is permanently red from the blood of the dragon he slew. And like, some of that stuff is so over the top, but I love it. His voice. So here's another thing that vastly improved. He had really no voice in the first one that I can remember. It was a different actor or something, even when they barely did it. But you never heard that guy talk hardly. And to me, he just was annoying, because he was just kind of standing there with his legs crossed, always going, yes, whatever. And I had a very different thing in my head. In Heaven's Word, he talks all the time, and he is so intriguing. He's so cool. I love him in this.
Yeah,
so,
Estinian's great.
Yeah, so there's a whole, I don't know, I'm having a whole thing happen. But you can tell this is an expansion where they're coming off a successful relaunch of a struggling MMO, and now everything's blazing, right? They're just going for it, and it just feels good. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot and playing it a whole lot, and it's kind of most of what I played this week was.
That's awesome. You got to a really good spot. You got to the first spot where I also get emotional. Like, the cutscene you described, I can handle okay. It's that they then make you go talk to the dad about it. And I'm like, oh, don't make me do this part.
Yeah, they make you
want to do this part.
They make you literally get on your, not on your horse, because you can't ride in town, but go down to the thing, teleport to the thing, go into the room, pour it in, have a whole cutscene of everyone being sad in there. It's short, but it's like, we're not letting you just leave without having the emotional impact of his death. You got to come deal with it. I appreciated that. I understand now why this is many people's favorite Final Fantasy game, because they drenched it in MMO tropes that I already like and know, and then tell a really compelling story and kind of do things their own way despite the MMO trappings. It's very good. It's really good. I think I finally figured it out. It only took 3 years.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah.
And man, you got some crazy stuff coming up.
I'm excited. I keep telling, I'll ping John once in a while and go, that guy was a dick. Like, if I ever never hear from this guy again, where's this? I played at the top of the show. This guy.
Teleji Adeleji.
That's not his name, but I want that guy, that little twerp. I want to kick him across the yard. I hate him so bad.
Teleji Adeleji.
Man, if you slowed that down and put it over a real slow trap house beat, that'd be Teleji, I'm a leggy, Teleji. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna
Like,
send it to you. You should. You're
like the hot like trap hip hop song.
You're our musician here. You should do it. You want to do it?
Play it again.
Here you go.
Teleji Adeleji. Teleji Adeleji. Teleji Adeleji.
See, those go together really well.
That's more of like an EDM pace, which also I could picture people just rocking out in the club to that. That would be,
Yeah.
You have that like that whole riser.
Yeah, where they rise it up and then
and it just goes and then all the music cuts out and it goes Teleji Adeleji.
Yeah,
Teleji Adeleji.
Hey,
whoops, that's a phone call. And then at the very end of the song, you go out with you just let it end like that. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I can make that song. You want to send it to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I want to hear that song quite badly.
You guys look for Teleji Adeleji coming soon to your favorite streaming service. Anyway, so yeah, it's rad. The game's great, and I'm glad to hear. I mean, for the most part, it sounds like you just have a lot of cool stuff ahead of me, and it's a lot of content. I mean, Heaven's Word, I'm as far as I just told you. Stormblood after that, Shadowbringers, Endwalker, and Dawn Trail. So it's a lot, but.
Yeah,
you did it twice,
just
didn't you?
Go at your own pace when you're interested.
Didn't you do it
Make
twice?
your way.
You did a whole run through twice up to Endwalker or something.
Up to the end of Shadowbringers. Yeah, I did it twice.
That's wild.
I might do it a third time.
Holy shit.
I'm a kind of person, if I read a good book, I will read the book more than once. And
Hey, you got to play Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I really like the story, and I have a tendency to go, well, what if I re-experienced it? You know, like...
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the first playthrough again was because all the pitfalls and things that I talked to you about, I did. My first time through, I played like a WoW player. I skipped a lot of dialogue. I didn't think that it mattered. Like when somebody's sitting there explaining how the governmental structure is going to respond to the Scions of the Seventh Dawn signing an agreement with Ul'dah, I'm like, what the shit does this matter? Like, I don't need to hear this. Skip, skip, skip. And then it becomes like the crux of everything that happens at the end of the story. You know, Alphino gets on his business about, I'm going to make the Crystal Braves a free company for the whole world. And you're like, that seems like a dumb idea. Sure, go ahead, buddy. It turns out to be a really dumb idea for very interesting reasons.
Yeah,
and
it works great. Like that's the difference here is paying attention. And once you understand that that's game's mission and accept it, it's a very different experience and it's very rewarding. So very happy with it.
But I'm used to that not paying off. I'm used to, what sword, for like, and it's fine. World of Warcraft gameplay is on point. It doesn't have to be an either or, taking pot shots, but WoW very much trained me to like, hey, we showed you a thing. You can forget about it if you want, because we might too. So who cares? So when I go to Final Fantasy and they show me a thing, I'm like, well, do I need to remember that? Yeah, I probably actually do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Part of me is always feeling like I'm forgetting something. So I have gone and double checked because there's some stuff very early in that the first game or in the original Realm Reborn that I had done a long time ago, and I was like, oh wait, is this a reference to something I don't remember? So I did a little back reading, and then I was like, oh okay, I get it. This guy's doing this or that or whatever. Yeah, it's good. It's real good. I mean, people who are playing it, they already know. So I'm not.
It's doing well. Although I still they are raving about the people coming back to the game and the, mutual logins and sign-ins and all of that they're experiencing. And, they're doing the usual MMO, celebrating how successful it's been. And there've been times where I'm like, nobody plays this game anymore because it launched so smoothly.
Yeah, it's weird. In fact, it does make you question it until you get in and you see the cities are packed. Like there's tons and tons of people, as much as I've ever seen. But my queue time, it's usually like I log in, it'll say you have 22 people ahead of you. And then within less than 30 seconds, they're gone and I'm in. And then the places are packed. It's not like it's a ghost town. So I think they must have really figured out their distributed computing stuff or something improved. It's good.
Yeah, I went to a zone. I was like, God, this world is just like, did nobody pick up this expansion? And then I teleport to the main city and it's like, hey, which of the 4 instances of the main city do you want to load into? Because we've split it because there's so many people here right now. And you're like, oh, it's all behind the scenes stuff going on. Like, good on them.
Yeah,
like,
it's impressive.
Crazy impressed at how smoothly it has launched. And Yoshi P still apologized and gave people a bunch of free game time.
Yeah.
So we still got I'm sorry, some people had problems. Here's some free game time. Even though I think it's maybe one of the most successful MMO launches I've ever seen.
Yeah, real clean. It literally made me question. I'm like, did nobody buy this expansion? But then you get in, you're like, no, there are more people here than I saw the last time they did this, and it's crazy. Like I went to Grandia for Grandinia, however you say it, and I don't remember why I was in there, but it was packed, like so many people, and there were people dancing and playing music and doing Beau stuff everywhere. And by Beau, I mean you, Beau. I mean,
there barding?
There was barding. There was definitely barding.
Has there been any barding improvements game at all?
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I also I changed to a warrior, and now I'm tanking. If you can believe it.
Oh, nice.
You know what I like about that game in tanking is they give you a role, all the abilities you need to use as a tank to mitigate damage and get aggro and all that crap that you usually have to do. It's very simply put in its own tab of actions. So you're just
yeah.
I was like, oh, here are the things I only need to worry about in that scenario. Otherwise, I'm just out doing damage in the world, and it's no big deal. But if I'm in a dungeon, here we go. These three or four little abilities. Usually, you get away with 2.
Like in WoW, when you use Thunder Armor out in the open world.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Like
and
you don't use Thunder Armor. Don't need to shield block really.
Yeah, so I like that whole separate thing.
Like that.
So anyway, that's been pretty fun too.
All right.
All right, let's move on. I'll rip through these so that we're not here all night. Questmaster. I may have talked about this before. I don't know, but I did play it. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm happy to hear about it some more because it looks very cool.
It is very cool. It is currently overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. I think deservedly so based on what I've played. It's still in early access, but it's very, very polished and sort of done to a point anyway. I guess they're going to have a full campaign when they do the 1.0 launch. Right now, it's more about what are people creating. But to give people an idea of how Questmaster works it is Mario Maker for Zelda, but Nintendo didn't make it.
And you can make your own full campaign, or is it just maps?
Oh yeah,
Like
full campaign, full everything. You can create story, you can create triggers, you can create puzzles. I have played some incredible stuff that seemed crazy to me that a person made. I just couldn't believe it because it felt like a full-blown Nintendo game. And it's beautiful. It's all pixelated, but your swings of your sword feel good. The way you roll feels good. Some of the enemies are clearly inspired by actual stuff to the point that I was like,
gonna say they've done a very good job at making not Zelda.
Yeah,
this looks incredibly Zelda.
Yeah, especially like what's the SNES game? Can't think of it all of a sudden. Something in Time. What is it?
Link to the
Past. There's a lot of Link to the Past vibes in it, and the way your little character swings his sword and picks up stuff and chucks it and all that is very similar. Honestly, it's the kind of thing I worry Nintendo might get itchy about. I'm not sure if they will or not, but
well, I'm okay with them getting itchy as long as they make this game. If they're getting itchy just because
game title alert. Sorry, game title. What's the game title?
Master Quest.
I promised a YouTube commenter that I would set an alarm and remind you to say the game's name in your sentence.
Oh yeah, I've said it in every possible case. So I will say Questmaster is currently the game I'm talking about, and I'm going to work it in.
Questmaster.
Questmaster, that's correct. Yep, and I'm going to keep it coming.
Questmaster.
Making maps is a breeze. It's super fun to do. As you can see, you just you take your mouse or your controller. It's full controller support as well. And you just clear out areas, and you can undo and redo, and the tools they give you to put in a trigger, and then what does the trigger do, and change the biome on the fly. You can be like, oh, I think I'd rather have the desert biome. Bam, it's done. You got the desert biome and everything's applied. Enemies they can be pretty hard, so you can do all kinds of crazy shit with them. You can have chests and put them wherever you want. You have other abilities like the flaming boomerang. You can decide how early you want your character to get it, and then maybe he backtracks to a place that, like in Zelda, it only works now because you have the boomerang, so now you can go to that place.
Like the Metroidvania aspect, right? Like you need to get this item to unlock this traversal.
Definitely a lot of that. The strength, I can't tell what I'm going to like more, just playing people's amazing creations, and there are already a ton. They're all these online ones. You download them in seconds. It's like playing, it's like Mario Maker in that way. Lots of high-rated ones.
Data file, it's not like it has to download assets.
Exactly. You already have all that. It's just a data file, and it's fast. And some of these creators are really good, so you can follow them, and anything they put out, you can play. You can favorite stuff, of course, and all that sort of thing. So all of those, creator tropes are in there. But some of it I've played, I get lost in the guy's creation to the point that I feel like I'm just playing a full game, and by the time I get done with it, he may say it's a 20-minute experience or something. I'll get done in 20 minutes and go, oh, right. I'm just playing some dude's level or a guy's, idea of a fun little quest or whatever. And I forget that that's not the game. And that's, I think, good. I think that's really good that I feel that way, because it just feels really immersive, and you can tell really creative people are doing stuff. I tried to make something cool. I kind of had a roulette little treasure box thing going, and I was learning how triggers worked and all that, and I had bombs going off if you opened up the wrong the wrong treasure chest and stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's neat, and there's some really cool stuff already, and they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna have a full campaign for people who just want to have a good campaign. That'll be in here. I think it's rad. I think this is gonna be huge. So watch for it. It was on sale, might still be for its. I don't know if that was part of the summer sale or not, but I grabbed it at $20 or something like that. And it plays great on the Steam Deck and great on PC, and it's awesome. Love it. Go ahead, Beau.
The name of the game was?
Oh, the name of this game is called Questmaster. Questmaster. Zelda meets Mario Maker. If that sounds interesting to you, this game is cool.
I'll reset my timer.
Thank you. I will now talk about a game called BZZZT. I teased this last week. And it is literally called...
The title is a sound effect. It's bzzzt.
It is literally bzzzt, like you're getting shocked. I think that's maybe bad for SEO, but I respect their gumption on deciding to make a game like that. This is another 2D pixel thing. It's a precision platformer with some real controller hucking moments, like times where you're like, damn it. If I have to do this 50 more times, I'm going to throw my controller through the wall. Kind of Meat Boy levels of frustration sometimes.
I was going to say, sounds like Super Meat Boy.
But like Meat Boy, Meat Boy, it's very quick. Like you get in, you die, you're right back to trying again. This also has a story going on. You're a robot that was created by this little professor guy. He's on the screen right now, and this girl's helping him. And you become this sentient robot that now has to go figure out why this whole facility's falling apart. And so your job is to get through every level and try to figure it out and survive. And you gain new abilities as you go and that sort of thing. It's exactly what you think. So if you are a fan of Celeste, Meat Boy to some degree, although Meat Boy is just so hardcore, this is maybe it's a little lighter in tone than Meat Boy, but it's still really hard in places. And it's cool. This is the kind of game where I think they should make a creator for it. And this also is having a moment of really high reviews. People think this is great. I only play overwhelmingly positive games. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I've seen you play some real shitters.
That's true. But for the most part...
Gas station simulator.
That did all right, I think. Had very positive.
No, I'm sorry. I'm exaggerating. I don't, But
yeah.
I
try to...
play You play questionable games, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry, everybody. I will still play some bullshit once in a while.
You're not a snob. You're not that big of a snob.
No.
Yeah.
It's cool, though. This is a really good one of those, and I think people would really have fun with it and also be frustrated, but in a good way. Because when you do accomplish a hard one, it's like, oh, man, that felt so good. Let's keep going, even though you're pissed about all the hits you took. Oh, it is not one hit die, though. That's nice. It's 3 hearts.
Interesting.
You got 3 hearts. So 3 hits, basically. And you can rejuvenate hearts if you find a box or something that has one in it. So it's not wholly unfair. This is probably what separates it from, say, Celeste and Meat Boys. They don't punish you that hard. But it's still pretty hard. And I found myself both happy and angry multiple times. It's good, though. And it looks really good. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Music's great. Sound effects are
great. I also
like
the size of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, some of these side-scrolling games, they make everything so big that you can barely see what's going on in the level, and the guys are nice and tiny. I like it. Yeah,
big open levels, lots of room to kind of figure out what you're supposed to do. Some tricky stuff, tricky traversal going on. It's cool. And available pretty cheap and available on Steam now. And again, it's called BZZZT. That's BZZZT.
Oh, you mentioned the name. Good. All right.
Yeah.
Timer reset.
Exclamation point on that.
I'm just keeping a timer. If more than 5 minutes elapses, I'm going to be prompting you.
I also teased last week that I would at least mention, if not talk a little bit about Megacopter, Blades of the Goddess.
Godless.
I keep saying goddess. Godless. Look at this shit.
I would play both those games, but I would probably be more excited about Blades of the Goddess, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and there's stuff in this, like there's Cthulhu stuff, and like it's so weird. But you take those old Desert Strike, Jungle Strike games, that kind of gameplay, but you take it into this like ridiculous science fiction, over the top 80s movie style presentation, and that's basically what you get. It controls really well. The missions are really fun. You fly
Yeah,
around.
I saw a little bit. Isn't the main guy's name Jack Copter?
Yeah, it's Jack Copter. It's stupid, isn't it? I mean, the fact that it's Jack
And General Ramshaft is the guy who you report
yeah,
to.
yeah. It is General Shaft. You blow up a lot of stuff. There are you don't run out of gas like in those strike games. I hated that. But you do run out of ammo of some certain ammo types. Some of it's unlimited, but like your missiles. So there are places to pick up new missiles. There are people you got to pick up now and again. Controls really well. Blow shit up really good. Lots of weapons and guns and stuff. It's exactly what you think this is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got an itch for that, I think it's really good. And it's also overwhelmingly received on Steam because I don't play bad video games. Anyway, Megacopter Blades of the Godless is the name of this game, and I just know that all I have to say is you're in a helicopter.
You said the name.
Yeah, I did. All you have to do is be in a helicopter and shoot shit, and if that should be enough for a lot of you out there. All right, John, let's swing over to you and talk about Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance.
Yeah, well, I didn't play it.
Oh, great.
So, but I did want to give a shout out. So a listener, Sean, gifted me this game. It is the game I'm going to talk about is Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. And they said, I know you are deep in Final Fantasy right now, so if you don't get to it right away, that's okay. That is exactly why I didn't get to it, but I did want to say a thank you while it was fresh in my mind. This is a game I really wanted to play. This series, the Shin Megami Tensei, I used to have the strategy guide for 3 Nocturne, which I was always like, I'm going to play this game. I'm play this game because it had Dante from Devil May Cry in it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Dante from Devil May Cry is cool.
He is very cool. I won't argue. He's awesome.
And so I really wanted to play that game, but it was one of those games that I just never pulled the trigger on. Strategy guide was amazing, though. It was a fantastic strategy guide. There are good strategy guides and bad strategy guides. It was the opposite of the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. That's how good it was.
So this is like a full-on remake / up-res deal, right?
So this is 5. I think this is a new game.
Is it new?
Okay. Brand new.
Okay.
So it still very much falls into the art style of what I remember from 3, the game I didn't play. So now I finally have an opportunity to get in and play one, although I don't think Dante from Devil May Cry is in this. It would be cooler if he was, but I don't think he's in this one. But this does share a lot of qualities with like the Persona games. So I know that it does like a lot of the like creatures. It shares a lot of bestiary type stuff with the Persona games. And I'm just excited to get in and play it. But I just played Final Fantasy with my free time.
This
so
is another
apologies to Sean, even though Sean said it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to it yet. But I will definitely play this.
Well, it's the same reason I need to shout out Shatterproof in our Discord, who gifted me the Steam version of Elden Ring. First of all, I didn't play any Elden Ring because of freaking Final Fantasy. Same problem as John. And he also gifted me Chained Together and Crab Champions, both of which look ridiculous. Chained Together is that one you're seeing a lot of multiplayer streams where you're literally two people chained.
It's the meme streamer game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good for a meme stream game. So I'm going to try that with Carter or something. But Crab Champions just looks like a rad shooter, but you're a crab, and that looks great. So I can't wait to play it. So anyway, shout out to him for the same thing. I got into Crab Champions, shot around a little bit, and then had to do the show. But I'll give that way more time this weekend. And it was very nice of him also to do that. So Sean for John and Shatterproof, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, we're getting close. What was the game, John?
Yeah, John.
The game that was gifted to me was Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and you will hear more about that when I play it, hopefully next week.
PC Gamer gave that a 90. They loved it.
It seems really good. Like, I mean, I think it definitely falls into like a niche category, but I think it's very good within its niche. So,
yep.
I'm looking forward to it because that niche, I like it.
Get
familiar with it.
Get your turn-based JRPG bone going, everybody.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Get
It's
that
like
bone going.
it's like a corner in a room at a party where you look like you're being social, but no one talks to you.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
comfy. It's fine.
Every party
You
for
just
me.
blend.
That's where I go. I like that party a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Let's get to Beau. Beau, Elden Ring continues. I know that you are dead set on doing the start from scratch, get all the way to the end thing, and I really respect that.
Yeah. So I started base game. I'm almost done base game. I just have to kill Malekith and the dragon in Crumbling Farum Azula. One of the greatest levels in all of gaming history, by the way. 'Cause it's a crumbling city with tornadoes all around. It's just the vibe in there is amazing. And then I have to do the Halig tree with Melanoma.
Melania?
Scarlet Rot Lady.
Melania.
That's it. Yeah. I burnt the Erd tree, so the Erd tree's on fire, and that's all done. And then it's the final boss. So I'm pretty close to finish base game. And I did not progress that far in Erd tree because I've been streaming, but I've also kind of been watching the World Series of Poker, so I can't watch that and stream. So I've kind of been bouncing between both.
How is I've never really watched competitive poker. I like poker, but I've never really watched that stuff. Is that like a fun watch? I don't know what it's like.
I mean, it's different in this era of streaming. They basically pretty much live stream the whole time. It used to be like hour-long episodes with like Lon McCarran and Norman Chad. You know, one guy's a street guy, the other guy's doing jokes like, don't tell my wife, I can't play poker like this guy, you know, like just that kind of shit. which is like, it was still entertaining. I still kind of liked it, but it was like made for ESPN in the 2000s, 2010s era. Yeah. Nowadays, it's just a live stream, and they do have commentators, but it's like a 10-hour stream. Like, they just go the whole day. Huh. So speaking of subs, I paid for a month of subscription because it's not on TV anymore. You got to get it at PokerGo. Anyways, so I've been second screening that and getting through the base game again. The base game of Elden Ring is still fun, but it's less magical after the first time because I know where most of the stuff is and I know what to expect. And you know, I'm one-shotting the bosses in there because I'm level 230 and I know where all the shit is. You know, like I don't know, it's pretty easy. Elden Ring, pretty easy game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? At first, it's not easy. I'm telling you, Scott. If you commit and learn how to play,
I'm gonna keep
like,
going.
This game's easy.
I'm gonna keep going. The
first 50 hours are tough, you know. Like, but it gets easier as time goes on. But Erd Tree stuff, I haven't done too much of. There's a video of me defeating the Renala. So, John talked about that boss. Took me 3 attempts. She wasn't that hard.
I think that's about how many attempts it took me as well.
Yeah, the first one's learning how you instantly die. The second is
accurate. Yeah.
The second is understanding where you die, but still making mistakes. The third playthrough is, you know, okay, when the moons fall, jump 3 times. That's pretty. Everything else you can heal, you can flask through, or dodge. But the moons, you really want to make sure you jump when they hit the ground.
All right.
I thought she was a super cool boss, a super fun boss. And I love her look and weapons. I immediately was like, well, it's a respec. I want to run around as you.
I want to be that lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the bosses are all definitely cool. The game's got a cool vibe. I'm loving it. I'm in this area of the overworld right now where there's a weird brown yellow hue over everything that really. It's not like poo, but like it. You know that color when you pee and poo in the same bowl, and you take a glance back and go, ugh. The game just kind of looks like that right now.
Wow, that sounds like.
I'm like this is. I'm like I know this is supposed to be shadow, like it's a shadow world, but I don't know if they really made a great palette choice in this zone.
Is it's not the return of that boss, is it? The poop eater guy.
I don't know. It's a new overworld area, and it's there's a lot of brown and yellow areas, like but it's like golden. Like I'm like, okay, that's a good yellow, and there's a lot of dour brownish places, you know, and that's fine. The only one is under the sewers, it's a sewers. What else would it be filled with but pee and poo? Like I get it.
Yeah. Plus,
but the Shadowland is like got these magical biomes, and then I'm just like, well, what's going on here? Oh, the game I was playing is Elden Ring.
Plus, your timer went off. Erd tree rhymes with turd tree, so maybe they know what they're doing. They got it.
I'm still going through, so because I've been mostly focusing a lot on base game, I haven't made it through Shadow So I'm still playing the expansion. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Basically. So I don't know. I have no idea how far along I am, but it's slow going because the base game takes me a lot of time, and I'm watching TV while I play the game. So sometimes, you put the controller down, you pet the cat, and watch Phil Hellmuth
Sure.
blow up or something like that. So
Sure.
yeah.
No, it's all good.
All
Now,
right.
I know there's a lot of listeners out there who are going, did one of the core team play that stupid new Zenless Zone Zero thing? I have great news. Beau took the bullet for everybody.
I was one of the 50 million downloads of that game.
Oh my
week.
gosh!
I was technically one of the 50 million downloads. I just didn't end up playing.
Oh man!
I just deleted it. I downloaded it and then deleted it. I just took one step towards my bandwidth cap and then went, well, that was fun.
I love that.
All right.
You just went, wait. Wait, do you have a bandwidth cap?
No, I don't. I did it first when I moved in.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, yeah, like I just moved in. I just like set everything up for the first time and we hit it on like day 3 of being in the house.
Oh, damn.
And
dude.
I was like, for the month we'd just gotten turned on to, and I was like, oh no, we got to get rid of this.
That's funny. Well, all right. So how is that?
Well,
Beau?
yeah. So in terms of new games, I have about not a lot of time, but I gave it a spin up, like maybe 2-3 hours in a new game from Hoyoverse or whatever that company's called. The Genshin Impact Honker Star Rail company.
Yes, it's Honker Star Rail, everyone. Honker.
I mean, yeah. Well, the characters definitely got honkers, and a lot of the characters definitely got honkers. So Honker Star Rail. It's bad localization. Don't
I agree.
get mad
I
at
don't
me
like
about
it. I don't like it either. I think it's an annoying name. Everything they name their stuff, I don't like. Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I don't really like the
I don't
word
even like that.
honkai. I'm just like, what is that? Like, maybe it's a word in another language. I don't mean to be insulting.
Sure.
I don't want to play Honker Star Rail. Zenless Zone Zero. I gotta say, big thumbs up in my book so far on what I played.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So look, it's a gotcha game. I know the gotcha bullshit's coming. I know the Ding Desert's coming, and I know these games.
They're very
give you
good
lots
at
of
these,
sexy
though.
love time
Yeah.
before they hit you with the swipe mechanics.
Yeah.
So so far, I liked it. What's in the game, you ask? Well, it's a deep storytelling game, so it has pretty good cutscenes. All right, well animated. It's like no shocker there, right? If you've seen Genshin Impact cutscenes, you know the level of quality we're talking about. Nice animated cutscenes. It has visual novel elements when characters are conversing, which is actually it's a good vibe. It also has comic book panels during some instances where they don't fully animate, but they tell it in this motion comic book. It's also very well done. Like, lots of panels and like nice art.
That reminds me of the Yakuza games. They do that a little bit.
So
right?
I'm going to tell you what this game's exactly like in just a moment, which I don't know if it'll help John, but it'll definitely help you categorize this thing.
All right.
But I'm just going to finish describing the gameplay. That game is. I still got a minute before I say the name again.
Don't jump the gun. No, only once the timer goes off.
Yeah.
Right. So the gameplay mechanics involve like this weird roguelike traversal over TV screens,
Okay.
which I don't quite fully get, but it's basically just a map. When you go to visit the Hollow, you go through these TVs, and then you might encounter some people to fight, and then it is a third-person action with swapping. Now, as an improvement over their other games, the swapping actually triggers super moves and shit like that. So it's pretty, like, it's a lot better. Oh my god, phone! I'm keeping you on because I want the alarm, but I don't want stupid Slack notifications. Okay, so I'm sure talking to it really helped. Yeah, solve that. So anyways,
Yeah.
all right, hang on. I gotta mute my phone now. I can't. Shut up, Mike Crofton. They're talking.
That was Mike and Crofton?
Yeah. They're like blah blah blah. Mike's at an Offspring concert right now.
Oh, well, we got to keep him situated. I get it. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I get it. So the game is just third-person action fighting, right? And you swap your dudes out. It's well animated, super flashy. Oh, the game is Zenless Zone Zero. I'll restart the timer.
Yeah.
So, what this game is like, let me just jump to the point because it's the only thing in my head right now, is do you remember a game called Scarlet Nexus
Yeah.
that we both enjoyed?
No. Quite a bit.
The game is basically that.
Oh.
Like, it lacks like the edgy, if you could call it edgy, it's still an anime game, but there's an edgy brain crushing mechanics and telekinesis and sort of dark story.
Yeah,
I don't think this has that stuff. This thing's very much like, you know, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever you want to call. It's very like we're cool and we're kids, yeah, pew, 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 graffiti. Like it's definitely that vibe.
Yeah.
But it's still like very well animated. The story, like it's all like it's the same like trope and loop. Like it's almost literally like they ripped off Scarlet Nexus in the sense that it's like a cyberpunk future. You're in urban environments, and the bad guys come around when there's. In this game, they call it hollows. In Scarlet Nexus, they had a different word for it, which I don't remember. But, occurrences from another cyber dimension come and are like messing up the world. And that's when you come into play. And in this game, I think you only had like you had two gangs because there was two campaigns, like Resident Evil 2 style in Scarlet Nexus.
Sure.
And this one, it seems like you have a bunch of different teams of 3, which are the unlockable characters. And as the operator, in Scarlet Nexus, you control the character you're playing. In this one, you're going to control like these characters as operators, as like a Raynor or Tassadar like style commander.
Right.
That's kind of how the story pitches it.
Sure.
But you help guide them through the hollow. So I mean, if you play Scarlet Nexus minus like the telekinesis, it's actually a much more, I would say, nicer like the menus are nicer and like certain elements are much nicer, but it's like the totally same vibe. And the combat's kind of the same. Like you dash around, you hit attack button, and then to do a power move, you switch to another character, right? They have ultimate moves, which also does like crazy cutscene animations, but you also have power switches where you switch but do a power move. And I think as the game goes on, it's going to get more and more crazy. Whereas like in a game like Genshin Impact, it's like just switch your characters. Like, oh, here, you have a new character, whatever. This game's just like, it's like a fighting game that, in a fighting game when you have a tag team that you can tag people in and do big moves.
Sure.
It's like that. Like you're just like switch up, boom, 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 switch up, boo, yeah. It's all switching's all crazy.
Yeah.
So,
why don't they just make these games? Like, what is
like,
there?
Well, I mean, because so for free, this game is incredibly good for the price. But the health sponges are coming, where like clearly you're good enough to clear content, but you're gonna have to pay to increase. I don't know, fungus level or whatever it is the thing that you've got to improve in this game, right?
Yeah.
Fungus level. So like the bullshit's coming like big time, and like there's no way this game is free without having to pay for dumbass crap, which is unfortunate because it's gonna be a zero if I get to it and I don't like what I see. But
yeah,
really great looking trash.
Because that's what I did with the Star Rail when I played it until they got to some of that and I went, oh yeah, it's one of these I forgot. This sucks. I'm out and I quit playing.
That's the only problem. But I will say I played it for a few hours and I was like, oh, I got court tonight. I kind of just want to play more Zenless Zone Zero. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
But, Lost Ark was really good for 40 hours until you hit a wall of, would you like to gamble to make your equipment better?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you ran out of materials? Well, you can do these 8 activities per day to upgrade your level for a month until you hit the gate and then you can get to the next zone.
Yeah.
Or you can just pay us.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah.
But don't just pay us a flat fee of $10. You can buy randomized loot boxes, and maybe it'll cost you 10. Maybe it'll cost you 100. Aren't we having fun?
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Sure
We'll
looks
see.
good
But
though. Man, they look good. These games. They just are.
The
pretty.
game is, like I said, visual presentation wise, game's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Looks good so far. Having a good time. Voice acting is pretty great. Not super deep into it, but it is good. So we'll see.
I mean, look at
But,
this robot chef.
Part of me is just like, maybe I should just play Scarlet Nexus. Like, it's just, I already own it and it's a full campaign.
Yeah, that game's really good. I like that game a lot. So.
I do like Scarlet Nexus quite a bit.
I need to finish it myself. All right, awesome. You also got those VR lenses you were ordering.
Yep. And I don't have a lot to say on that topic except they rule.
Wow, that's a hard.
So good.
You don't have a lot to say,
I'm
but
talking about
MetaQuest
3. Sorry, MetaQuest 3.
Oh, MetaQuest 3, everybody.
So my
MetaQuest
timer
3.
went off.
Yeah.
Previously, Zenless Zone 0.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like
True.
that alarm was partially for
We
that.
transitioned from Zenless Zone 0 into MetaQuest 3, and I got some VR prescription lenses. All right, the timers are set.
All right, good.
So I just wanted to say it's so sweet not to have these. Like, look at these thick ass glasses. I don't have to wear them. And I know technically the Quest is kind of like really big glasses, in a way, but
Yeah.
it's so nice to be able to see things that are far away in my screen without having the glasses on. It's kind of awesome. Anyways,
do you have them there? Are they handy? I'm just curious what they look like. Are they just inserts?
Well, they don't look like anything. I do have my headset right here.
Is there a way to see what they look like inserted? Are they just little?
Well,
no, they're
I don't want
contact lenses, right?
No,
Oh.
they're lenses on the thing. I snapped them in, so I don't know how to snap them off. But they're basically
Oh, okay. So they just
look at that.
they
Yeah.
go on top of
see that?
the.
You just snap them right. Like the Quest is already designed to handle them. It's just this black rim here. It's just the lens, and it snaps in. So you just snap them in, and they might look thick. Like when you look at it, like, oh, these are thick, but it doesn't touch your eye. It's really far away from your eyeballs. Like, it's fine.
And again,
Well, that makes
so-
more sense why Beau was talking about this. I thought he was just buying contact lenses and was very excited.
No. They're VR. They're VR lenses. It's an
Let's
upgrade
just
to the
let
actual
him have
device.
his excitement
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
But no, that's cooler.
Yeah, that is cool. I
Well, it
didn't know
makes
they
it
had
so
the
I don't
option.
have to wear my glasses while I have the headsets on. Like I can, and it feels good to see far away without my glasses on. Even though it's technically not far away, it still amounts to the same thing because of how vision works and all that. So
Stupid vision.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. I am, it was like I said, 60 or 70 Canadian. It's a little on the pricey side, but I'm already a grand in on my Quest. What's another $60?
Yeah. It'll only suck when the 4 comes out or whatever, and then you'll be like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Gotta swap.
I mean, I don't know. I think Quest 2 is not an end of life yet, and I think Quest 3 will be. Quest 3 is good, man. You have a Quest 3, don't you?
Yeah. No, I have 2. I wanted a 3, but I have a 2.
Okay, so you don't. Yeah, Quest 3 is like.
I know it's a big.
It's a big improvement over 2, honestly. Even though 2 is pretty good, like just the. It's an improvement on the periphery and how much eye real estate you get over the 2.
Yeah. I do kind of still, I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with maybe I'll add up all my saved subscriptions that I'm saving money from, and that's what I'll save it toward.
Like I will say, like like I'm perfectly willing to admit, like VR is not the hotness, right? Like it's very cool tech. There's a lot of enthusiasts. I hope lots of people adopt it and have fun. But I get that there's no need to rush out and get the next one. You might be fine waiting till 4. Unless you something you really want to play. I'm not going to twist anyone's arm because like. I'd still say the best game I played is Half-Life Alyx, and I've tried a couple of things here and there and still just not been as impressed.
Still top of the...
And they need to improve their video library. YouTube needs to get... YouTube only does 4K.
Yeah.
We really need 8K. Things that YouTube be at. Like, no, seriously, like 8K is like should be minimum standard for 180 video.
Yeah, but do people have the damn bandwidth for that anymore? Like...
No, I stream 8K, no problem.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
I have gigabit, but
I don't think I have any 8K content of any kind. Is there stuff on?
For VR, it would have to be recorded on special. So 8K content is 4K.
Oh, per eye
lenses. It's a per eye thing.
Got it.
So you just need higher quality because you're doing 2 displays when it comes to VR.
Yeah.
So it's not like anyone actually needs like 8K for flat screen stuff, but for that, it doesn't translate to 8K quality. It's still like a 4K quality you're watching, but you need 8K
because you need both eyes. Yeah, you're not a Cyclops for hell's sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, awesome. We're going to take a break. When we come back from our break, it will be time for us to do a Dear Martha. We got one from the community again, so John's got his work cut out for him. Some more some more news, a voicemail, a text, things like that.
So Gideon knows fear.
So come back shortly. We'll be here waiting for you. Oh yeah, it's totally fine. We're kidding.
Yeah.
It's because John's love of no. We were just talking about one of our upcoming stories because someone in the chat was wondering if we knew about or if we talked about the Transformers coming to Overwatch. I'm like,
it got mentioned so many times in the Discord, it became a joke to constantly keep bringing it up in the Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, because John loves Transformers.
Like, yeah, I famously don't like Overwatch 2.
Mm-hmm.
I famously like Transformers, so when those collide, I suddenly become a person of interest.
Yeah. Yeah. You're being watched, really. That's what's going on there. Oh, what the hell happened? Sorry.
Cordyceps.
I'm sorry, John.
Cordyceps. That's what got me this time. All right. You're back. We're back. We're all back. Here comes the thing that we do. In 3, 2, 1. And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the thing we do, which is a show, and it's the middle of core right now, a little more than middle, and it's time for us to dive into the Dear Martha of the week. John, I had somebody in the Discord offer this one up. All right,
Okay.
it's from Baloney Ninja, and he says this: "Why do I keep romancing the same NPC in Baldur's Gate 3 in every playthrough?" All right.
I understand this pain all too well.
Yeah.
This is a
Why is it Mind Flayer?
Yeah.
no.
Why is it always
And
Shadowheart? That's who I. That's
I
all-
also
yeah.
I also have this problem in Mass Effect too. But
Hold on. Can I guess the character?
yeah, you can.
Like Grievous. What's his name? Gareth.
Grievous.
What's his name?
General Kenobi.
You're talking about Garrus.
Gareth.
No.
Okay.
I did for an achievement once because there was an achievement in Mass Effect where you had to romance
don't
someone.
lie. It's because you find them attractive.
No, there's an I 100%ed Mass Effect 1, 2. I don't remember if I did 3 or not. But I have always been I have always romanced Liara. Up until the DLC, she was not romanceable in Mass Effect 2, and I stayed true. I was a true blue Liara supporter.
Wow.
And I couldn't romance her, so I didn't get the achievement for romancing anybody in Mass Effect 2, and I needed to get that achievement. So
I've got a
playthrough.
Yeah.
I've got to name that NPC challenge impossible for Scott.
Oh yeah.
What's Liara's last name? Do you remember?
Liara Benson, I think. Benson.
Benson. Benson.
Benson? No, I didn't know she had a last name.
It's just
if
an
I'm honest.
opportunity to hear you say something funny, but it was a little.
Benson was pretty good.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
What is her real last name? Does she have a last
To
name?
Sony.
Oh, Tassoni?
Yeah.
So
Sony
Liara
Online
Tassoni.
Entertainment. It's the full last name, but
Tassoni
shorten it
PlayStation.
to
Yeah,
Sony.
that's good. Yeah, I don't know any of their last names. I know Shepard, and I forget his first name. I just know the last name Shepard. What's it?
Commander. His first
Commander.
name's Commander.
That's it. Did he have a first name or her? Either one? I don't
You
think
picked
they
No.
it. That's whatever you
pick
picked.
it. That's why they call you Shepard. Because
Although
Oh.
you're
voice
like
is.
vanilla lame ass Shepherd, so probably John.
John
Be
Shepard.
my
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
I think it was John, John Shepard.
Yep.
By default, I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he's on the cover of the damn game. I had to play that guy.
No, you don't.
I wanted to.
No, you absolutely don't.
I wanted to play that guy.
They put him on the cover. I had to play him. He was on the cover of the box.
All these like CG things they showed at E3s and stuff. It was that guy. I had to play that guy. I just didn't feel right not playing him. Anyway, so let's get to it. Is this all you need for your Dear Martha? Is there anything else you'd need for this?
Well, I took a brief moment after being told what the prompt was to pull up one thing. So,
Oh, good.
forget the improv. It's all prep now because I pulled up a list here.
I don't. Yeah, we don't have any rules,
so,
so you're fine.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a
So I'm
problem.
gonna break my own rule. But
I just want to shout out to Math Guy Dave, Team Lizelle, 100p.
Lizelle, ugh, that nose can't do it. That nose would
The
put me
cute
off.
little nose.
Yeah.
Mm, just that
Oh,
little
gross! That nose doesn't have proper like booger protection, so you can be snotting all over you and you're licking that nose,
nose. Yeah, but
touching that
she's
nose.
got astral boogers. They're different than normal boogers.
Astral boogers. Ugh.
I'll have you know, I D&D'd a sex scene with someone with boogers going all over me, and it didn't change my feelings.
If Yankee
Gross.
boogers are like, that's how stars are born.
You don't
Is
remember that from our D&D campaign? Maybe you were too busy taking a shit in a treasure chest.
I thought you meant. Wait, you didn't have. There was a whole sex scene. We didn't do any of those.
A lead up to it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
We did.
Well, I kind of remember that. I don't remember the boogers part.
Yeah, she was sick.
Oh, now I kind of remember.
We were there to cure a plague or whatever.
Plague thing, yeah.
Wait, what boogers part? Sorry, what?
In your
Beau
campaign.
doesn't even remember from his own campaign.
No, I was thinking about Lazelle. Sorry.
This is why he killed characters that were important to me without a second thought. He didn't even remember him.
George Miller.
Grosjean killed them.
Never forget.
George Miller. I killed George Miller.
Oh, that's
and
true.
I would do it again.
You do it again. Oh my gosh. About 20 of you got that reference, or maybe more. I don't know. That show, people liked our show.
Yeah, George Miller is a featured character in the There Will Be Dungeons campaign, and if you haven't listened, it's still totally valid to listen for
Spoiler.
some
Available. No.
It doesn't go well for him, and I'm to blame, sort of.
I absolutely love when I get a YouTube comment from somebody who's watching an episode from like 5 years ago, and they're all mad about something that happened in it. I love those. I love those because they're just bringing it current. They're acting like it just happened. It's like somebody posting an outrageous photo on Twitter like it was from today, but it was like from 20 years ago.
I have that because I have a YouTube short. One of the first YouTube shorts I made was just me going, hey, can I beat the Diablo capstone dungeon like grossly underleveled? This was right when Diablo 4 came out.
Yeah.
And I went in and got one-shotted almost immediately by I wasn't paying attention and just walked in and just got eliminated right away and laughed about it.
Perfect.
And the amount of comments I get current where people are like, it's easy. I do this now. And it's like, guys, this was a long time ago. This is my first time looking at it. I don't know what to tell you.
Some people, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how people's brains think.
They're personally affronted that I didn't back then have knowledge that everybody seems to have now.
Well, will they be personally affronted by Martha's reaction to this question? Let's find out as I push this button. John, take it away.
My dearest Shadowheart, Gale, Astarion, Will, Karlak, Halcyon, Jaheira, Minx, Minthara, Mizora, and the Emperor. I write to you with an apology. It's an exciting time. I'm starting a new campaign, the hit video game Baldur's Gate 3, and I know every single one of you is looking forward to being a potential love interest for the main character. Unfortunately, once again, it seems I'm destined to let you down. Despite my best efforts to resist her green skin and bat nose, there's just something about Lazelle that I can't get past. Maybe it's the way she treats me like the idiot I probably am. Maybe it's the way that she sums up entire conversations with a strong sound at me. But no matter what the allure is, I simply can't get past it. And no amount of fiery burning passion, weird devil horn fixation, previous dated a god magic in the bedroom, or bear sex is going to pull me away, to be honest. I know you find this disappointing, as my stubby little halfling body is certainly something to be desired. What with my hairy toes and roundish nose and affable personality for a warlock.
Yeah, it's hot.
But you're going to have to miss out on all of this once again, for I am truly attached to Bazelle. Yours in this life and the next. 779.
That's good. That was a good one. You know what that means?
Team Bazelle. Although, one thing I did want to mention that it's sad that you can't romance because she's obviously in a relationship.
What's
is
that?
Dame Aelin.
Oh, yeah. Or the
Dame
dead,
Aelin.
or the dead guy. Who's the dead guy?
Withers.
Yeah, Withers.
Withers.
I think you should be able to romance
I
Withers.
think you can hit on him, right? Like, I do think that is in the game, but I don't
Well,
think
he does. If you get to Act 3 and don't romance everyone, he comments like, "Oh, love's not really for you. It seems you have failed at love."
Really?
You're like, dude. He's like, why hast thou not found love? And you're like, well, I'm busy. And he's like, sounds like a likely excuse for someone unlovable or something like that. Just like, dude, chill out.
Kind of
Tis like the Olympics. You are all fit and prime examples of your respected fields. You should be getting it on like Donkey Kong.
yeah, it's pretty.
Nay, you have decided not to partake.
It just seems like a weird thing for him to have an opinion about. You know, he's basically
Yeah,
dead.
but no, he gets some sometimes. Every now and then, he gets involved in your personal life.
Yeah.
You know, he's ask questions.
Yeah, back out, Withers, you a-hole.
Yeah.
All right, now this. Sorry, what were you going to say? Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
I
you
was
off.
just going to continue raving about Dame Aylin. It's fine. We can move
All
on.
right. Oh, he's great too, though. I'm with you on that.
She's great.
Is it
She-
she?
Scott's
Thought it was a
really with
dude.
it. He's like,
I thought it was
No.
the devil guy.
No,
No?
not
No,
Dane.
that's
Dane-
Raphael.
I put a picture
Oh.
in Discord for who Dame Aylin is.
Oh, let me
There.
look here.
She's well.
Oh.
Was it Genasi or whatever?
Yeah, she's lovely. Look at her.
Yeah.
You can't romance her? She's not an option?
No, she already has a partner, Isabel.
Oh, okay. She likes the
That's
ladies.
Out spoilers. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but she's taken.
She looks like something you'd see in one of those Zack Snyder DC
Oh,
movies.
Asamar, that's right. They're like descendant of angels, basically.
Doesn't she
Kill
look
the
like she looks like a Zack Snyder verse character to me a little bit.
I think
Yeah,
the
a
way
little
they've done
bit, yeah.
that photo is done. That's the case, but yeah, she's definitely. Well, she's been in prison for 10,000 years.
Whoa,
Like,
that's as long as Liam
she's
O'Brien's
like-
been in
she does
prison.
have like an Illidan-like story, like kind of, except not a demon hunter.
Sure.
You know, she's a good guy, but they've imprisoned her to take the force from her and make themselves immortal.
Yeah.
I'm spoiling everything. Why am I doing
Yeah,
that?
why are you doing that? It's
Bo's
insane.
like, let me just run the plot down for you here.
Anyway,
real
she's
quick.
great. And you don't have to rescue her. She can be killed too. But anyway, she's great.
There's some more info about her. All right, well, let's get to this news stories that we didn't cover, and we're going to get right to this one. Overwatch and Transformers crossover. It's skins essentially, but there's a really cool animation to introduce it. They've been showing that. They look really cool in game. Is it enough for John to play Overwatch 2? I think I know the answer, but I'll let John answer.
No.
No, that's it. Nothing. You're out. You're not
I
going to
mean,
play.
any additional information I give is only going to make people angry.
Mhm.
Like, because people saw this, I got pinged by a lot of people going, John,
shouldn't
did
make them
you
angry."
see the Transformers Overwatch
Deal?
mashup? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I did. Like, I would be excited if it was a game I wanted to play. I don't want to play Overwatch 2, so I'm not excited. I have zero desire to go push a payload as Optimus Prime.
You know what I
Like-
want more than the game? I want this. I want this anime. Is what I want.
I would watch
Yeah,
the
marketing
anime.
is great.
Yeah,
And
it's really
and
good.
like here's the I had a lot of people start speculating on why I would or wouldn't be into this, and it really is just this simple. I don't like the game Overwatch. I'm sick. Not that I never liked it. I had my fun with it. I'm done. If they made a different game, I would be extremely excited for it. It's not even I had someone say that I don't like the Overwatch characters. That's not true at all. I think one of Overwatch's greatest strengths is its characters. I think it's a shame that this is all they're doing with that world and that universe. I think Overwatch should be a series of video games, not just a push the payload game.
The PvE was a big thing in having hope that John would be like, "Oh shit, I'm enjoying this single player Blizzard game. Blizzard makes great games. Like awesome. Like now I can enjoy the characters."
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with John for the most part, and also I'm a little tired of small arena team-based shooters. Like it's just not. I'm not drawn to them like I used to be. So for me, it would need to be just they need to do something. I don't know what. I don't know what it is that'll get me back, but I'm kind of the same.
Like
I don't thi-
literally anything else except a mobile game. Like I would be more interested in. Like
Yeah.
Even I'm sick of card games, but even like, hey, we're doing a second card game. Here's card games with Overwatch. I'd play that faster than I would play this.
Overstone.
Yeah, Overstone.
Overstone. Hearth.
Or Hearthwatch.
Watcher. Hearthwatch. I don't like Hearthwatch. That doesn't work as well.
We already have that. It's Jeff Kaplan. He does that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway.
we did.
Overstone it is.
Also, the Ayaneo. I don't think I'm saying this right. Ayaneo.
Excuse me?
Ayaneo. Is it Ayaneo?
I don't know either, but I see Ayaneo.
Ayaneo. I hate that.
Ayaneo?
It sounded like mine.
Yeah, Ayaneo. It could be Ayaneo.
Well, whatever it is, it's a new retro console that looks kind of cool. It's kind of a mini
is the new
PC.
meta. All the cool third-party consoles are made by companies with weird names. I got a Manba controller.
Yeah.
We all have Ambernix.
Yeah.
None of those names are great. Okay.
They're terrible names. No, you're not. You're not wrong. But this looks like
it's not great. But just Scott's first attempt, I was like, I don't know, but I don't think that would be where I would put my bet.
Yeah.
All right.
You're not
I
wrong.
wanted to get it over with.
But I do like the look of this thing. It's a rad little device. It's got kind of retro and not retro aspects to it. It would look cool attached to a TV or a computer.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like an original NES. It doesn't really need to. I don't think you don't put cartridges in it, but it's meant to run all your emulators and plug into your TV. Yeah. But it can play Cyberpunk like it is a micro PC.
Yeah,
it's like in the top end, it's a $600 range for like 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of hard disk space. Like it's a full mini PC.
Yeah.
But you can also get the more mini version. But I like the screenshots and the marketing. She's got like the Super NES ripoff, not ripoff, but the Super NES controller, wireless, plugged into the PC, and you can just plug it into the TV and run your emulator. Like it's the same deal as the rest. I was like, I kind of want this, but like I don't need it.
I know that's the problem with these things is I want them all, but I don't need any of them. But I love these things.
Yep.
But it's like, what if basically this is like, what if Nintendo was cool and released a system that was just a computer and you can put everything on it, Nintendo games or otherwise. It's kind of
it'd be rad.
What this is. I like this phase of the world we're living in where technology manufacturers can make all kinds. Like if you look at their other products too, they have tons of handhelds, like just like Ambernick. It's basically another Ambernick style company, and their handhelds look pretty sweet, man. Like it's this is cool.
There's a real gold rush in that weird submarket right now. And it's interesting to see how it's all going. Like everybody wants to be. Ambernick's got a bit of a hold right now because they're really, really smart about like that SP thing was freaking brilliant for them to make that. That thing sold like crazy. Still selling like crazy, but I like it. I'm with you. Nintendo, that's an old company that used to put a thing on your TV. They still do. They took a public stance to not use generative AI. They're doing more of a wait and see approach. I saw this article the other day and was happy to read it. They basically think that there are interesting stuff around it, and so they would be dumb not to, understand it, study it, whatever. But they have no plans to use the current models of generative AI to make a bunch of assets or any of that crap. So
I saw one of the quotes too saying, at least they're consistent about their legal stuff.
Yeah.
They're concerned about copyright issues. And I'm like, okay, we're seeing the other edge of the sword here. And at least they're consistent. And that's like what a lot of people have been saying about this stuff. And, it's like all of a sudden the villains are on the same team as you. And you're like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's great.
It was like, there's another quote that's like, I think we know how to make video games, so we don't really need this stuff. Basically, like they're not verbatim, but that's basically what
that is kind of what they're saying. Like to say otherwise is kind of admitting that you want to cut corners, kind of, even if they're good corners. Like it's still it's a weird PR thing.
Like, weren't you already making good games? Like, what does this help exactly?
Yeah,
they
might win in the end. Who knows?
We don't have to open the whole can of worms, but it's
could be interesting.
But that's the news.
CCP, place my daughter got to go tour while she was in Iceland.
Oh yeah.
Is making EVE Online open source in order to ensure the MMO can live on forever. Now, what that makes me want is for someone to redo it all so it's fun to play.
Well, I mean, that's That's what open source does, right? Like that's
I just want to mine. I want to mine stuff, and I want to sell things at stations, and I want to go kill a few pirates. You know what I mean? Like the game they have now is just too much.
Can't you do that?
Yeah, but there's so much other stuff, John.
It's very ponderous to do anything in that game.
Yeah.
Like, what Scott's asking for is for the World of Warcraftification of how they've made things a lot easier, to more teleports, LFD. Like
that's it.
They take out all the friction.
That's it.
But
that's
the
exactly
problem
it.
is, as I think, EVE Online players, they like friction. They like you to some extent enjoy misery if you play that game. So taking that stuff out, you would not like. I think it's part of the.
It's part of the appeal. Yeah, exactly. It's why I could never get into it. I'm not besmirching anyone else's enjoyment of it, but open source could mean some cool forking of the game. Like,
I mean, those skill books, if it's still the same way, like it's like basically XP is passive. You're just always getting XP. You just need to have a skill book equipped, right? And once you get to the higher tiers of skill books, I remember one, it was like 9 days. You don't got to be logged in. It's just you're not going to learn this skill because it's a high level for 9 days. Yeah. And it got worse. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God.
I know. I can't do it. I understand the draw, though. I think the draw is really something. I loved hearing stories about the intrigue around that game and the weird shit happening in the game and people losing like all this virtual money and their whole corporation collapsing because somebody else ganged up or whatever. That stuff's really interesting.
Guild backstabbings, right?
Yeah.
Like that's...
Yeah, there's a mole and, some people infiltrate. That stuff's really awesome. But to get there, you got a spreadsheet all day long, and I don't know if I could do that. I know I couldn't.
Or not even the spreadsheet part. It seems like a very social game. Like, I don't think you can go in there. This whole, like, I'm going to log in, just do the MSQ myself, and then going to play with my AI buddies. And like, basically, if you're not doing interpersonal dynamics in this game, you will not accomplish anything. You'll be very much left out to dry. So
yeah,
it kind of also forces, I think, the game to be a more social experience.
Yeah, I think so
in a profound way that's gonna involve like, sorry, honey, there's a council meeting at 5, and then I've got this obligation, or I'm out of the corporation. So it's shit like that. Like you probably don't want in your life.
Yeah, and I want that game to continue on because I again love the stories around it. I just don't. I don't know. Just don't want to play it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be open source, so you never know. Maybe we'll get a roguelike EVE Online.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'd try anything. I just need something different. Darktide, overhauling its weapon progression, adding mastery XP, and making it more progression-focused rather than RNG-focused. I think that is great news for that game.
I think that sounds bad, but I don't know enough about it to say for sure.
Really?
You guys haven't played far enough, I think, to be in the end game where you're upgrading your weapons.
Oh, definitely not.
Okay, so it's not. It doesn't sound like it's what I'm thinking then, because
no,
the way that read to me was like, okay, instead of having a chance of getting a cool weapon at the end of a run, you better just keep using that dumbass shovel until you level it up into something better.
No, I think there's still going to be random drops. That's not what I took away from the explanation here. I think the way you upgrade your weapons, like let's say you really like the chainsword,
right?
So because
it's not a shovel,
right? So you like the. I understand the hate. Shovel sucks. So in order to upgrade your chainsword, there's 2 blessing slots. But you don't just get them. You can't find them. You have to harvest them off other chain swords. So when you're going to get those random drops, you got to look at it, and you can only take one of the blessings on a chain sword, and then you have it in your repertoire. And the blessings have 4 tiers, so you can have a tier 1 to 4 blessing. So it's just this long, endless farm, because sometimes you get a drop, and there's stuff you already got.
Yeah.
And it's not a loot game. It's you maybe get 1 item at the end of doing 1 mission that's like 40 minutes. So if I play for 3 hours, I might get like 3 items. It's like it's a slog trying to upgrade.
Yeah, that's not
all
good.
there is left to do. Yeah,
I roll it back. If that's what this is upgrading, that sounds great, because that is also one of my things that I didn't love about the game. Is it's like, do you know how long these matches are? Like, and I get 1 item at the end of it. Like, what the hell is this? What are you doing?
Most of the time, it's crap item. Which I think the idea is it's supposed to be crap, so you harvest it for the items that you eventually RNG into and like, which I think is still going to be a thing. But yeah,
Interesting.
And like any of those default weapons you can buy for just money, because you can get all the weapon types for money once you've leveled up. They are random too in terms of stats, and once you get a goated, high item level statted weapon, like, oh, this is the chainsword I'm going to upgrade. And you can upgrade everything from gray to legendary, but it's just getting the actual blessings to put on the damn thing requires you to gamble a lot or to play a lot of missions, and it's just very tedious. Like, I've done it on one character where I've got my stub pistol super upgraded and my electricity sword super upgraded, but like I don't want to grind other characters through it. I'm like, I did it. Like anyway.
Yeah, make that stuff better. They make that part better, a lot more playtime, I think.
I included it in the news because I'm always rooting for. I really love Darktide, just this personal bias of mine, and I'm just rooting for him.
I want nothing but success for it. Yeah,
for when the expansion comes out, that they hit really hard, and my friends all love it and want to play.
Well, I'm for them doing well as well. All right, we have now some feedback from listeners, and one of them's a phone call. This is exciting.
That's a good question.
This is about a recommendation I made that apparently screwed up this guy's night. So let's find out how it went. Here you go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hey, John Scottson, this is for Core. I just want you to know that I finished playing Heroes of the Storm, and I wanted to relax, and I thought, hey, that game he recommended, Astral Ascent, I've only done one run. I should go in and do another one. And well, long story short, I beat almost every boss, and it's 3 a.m. now, and I'm gonna be late for work. And hopefully not, but I hope you're happy with yourself and your good game recommendations, you guy.
Wow, it definitely sounds like it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, you can hear it. You can hear the fatigue. The like, oh man.
You can even hear the sense that he probably never would have called in if it wasn't 3 a.m. But his judgment was so impaired. He's like, I'm gonna call in and give the guy shit.
Well, I'm really glad to hear when people are playing that, because that game is very, very cool. And I'm just saying, if you're in the mood for a roguelike and you liked, Dead Cells a lot and you liked Hades a lot, this thing is really good. It's awesome.
Yeah. That game is Astral Ascent.
Thank you.
Astral Ascent.
Astral Ascent. That's
not
right.
Ass to ass, whatever you say.
Ass to ass ascent. Yeah. What is that scent? It's my ass. No, that's not it. Anyway, it's Astral Ascent, and it's on Steam, and it's amazing. Play it. And play it on Steam Deck, and you'll never leave your bed. All right.
Yeah, and be responsible. Just know that you might have to miss some work.
Yeah, and it might be...
we're gamers. We don't know the meaning of the word responsible.
we've all done it.
We got a phone game in our hands. Come on.
That's the only advantage to having to call in or out sick. I don't remember which one gets me in trouble. And when you're that tired, when you've been up all night playing Civilization, is you sound sick.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to put on a funny voice for this one. I'll just call up and say, I'm not feeling well.
Yeah. It does remind me, there was a big sale on Civ 6. It was like $5.
Yeah, it was cheap. The whole
thing.
So
I bought it for Mike, and he was scared to play it. I didn't talk about this in the games I played, but we actually played multiplayer a bit, because I'm like, I'll walk you through it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was answering questions, like, oh, I get it. Okay. And then he's like, and I'm like, okay, Crofton's here. It's time to play Baldur's Gate 3. We have to stop playing Civ 6. And he's like, oh, just one more turn. And then me and Pepperoni Pete laughed. And we're like, that's the meme, right? And he's like, what? He's like, and then he played a turn. He's like, I just want to, okay, come on. I just want to keep playing. And I'm like, oh, it's his first game of Civ. We're like 10 turns in, and he's one more turns in multiplayer.
Already, man. Yeah.
This is where the meme comes from. It was invented by Civ. Like this is how you stay up till 3 a.m. Anyways, I hope he has a terrible night one of these days when he plays. It's gonna be awesome.
I feel like you need to. I feel like to truly appreciate Civilization, you have to give yourself at least one truly awful night of your life because of that game.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, all right, well, I did it.
Yeah.
I learned.
I have a question, though, about that. Were you guys doing competitive multiplayer or some kind of co-op? Or you just...
So it's always competitive. There's no co-op, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But it wasn't. It was just a tutorial. Like, it was like, people want us to do Elden Ring with Beau on the shoulder.
Yeah.
It was that. It was just, I was like, I was just helping him understand, like, hey, look, how you can assign citizens?
Yeah.
So remember, Mike went through a dark period after playing Final Fantasy 11, broke his heart. He would swore off games for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's only just now like starting to get into games again. He has a son who, of course, wants to play video games 24 hours a day.
Sure.
So he's forced kind of back into it. So like he had no idea what civilization was. So it was just a treat to hook someone on cocaine. I mean, show someone
Yeah.
what civilization is for their first time. A willing trier. And I bought him, like I'm like the drug dealer. I bought it for him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so it's $5. I gotta buy it for my friend and enjoy.
Yeah.
It's pleasurable. It's not really drugs, but you know he's gonna have a bad night one of these nights, and that makes me laugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Game's amazing.
So
It's so much fun.
We were just playing together just to answer his questions and show him because he's a lot of that shorthand in games that we have he doesn't have, right? So it's like this is what culture points do. This is what units are. But Civ is a game you pick up quick. It looks intimidating, and after 50 turns, you're pro. You're pro diplomat. Like you're off to the races. It's not that hard of a game.
Yeah. Like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
You just whip right through it.
Shadow the easy tree.
Yep.
That's right. Well, that's awesome. Let's move on to this. This is a text we got. Same number, 801-471-0462. And this is from Sean/Cyrenex, always around in the community. I think he's in the chat tonight, or was at one point. He says, Satisfactory has announced a release date after 2 years of early access. It goes 1.0 September 10th of this year. I'm really looking forward to it. Yours in some life or another, Sean. Yeah, that's a game that I feel like I set aside because I knew that I was going to really go stupid with it once it's fully out, but it just seems like it's taken so long. Like more than 2 years, it feels like. But
September 10th. Okay.
I can wait for that.
I've played it too. Actually, it's funny. Mike and I played it one session as well, and then him and his son played it together, and it's really good. You know,
It's so good, dude.
it's got very good presentation. You can do fun and goofy things in it.
Yeah, it's a blast. I mean, it's basically, it's Factorio first person at the end of the day. It's sort of that.
Yeah.
And there's some things I don't like about early game, but that's true of a lot of those, actually. Early game's supposed to be a little harder.
I mean,
'cause,
you sort of hate early game because you want all the cool shit, and then you get to later stages and you have all the cool shit, but your factory is mind melting at this point. Like you got a production chain issue, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I've got to re-examine every building to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
It's one thing that these games people don't really talk about is it's the same as programming. Sometimes there are bugs, and you gotta figure out the bugs.
Yeah, it is a lot like programming, and
Nobody
even
likes figuring out bugs.
and even if you figure out the bugs, there's still this fiddliness to it that's why I think I gravitate to the top-down RTS views of these games. I prefer those.
It's visually easier to grok. What's going on.
Yeah. So I don't, while I think this thing is a kind of a marvel, it's really good. I gotta ask myself how much I really want to spend playing it, but we'll see.
Well,
I own it.
The big drop for this one over the other ones is this is multiplayer.
Yeah.
And it was a good time in multiplayer. I kind of, I think when it launches, I'll ask Mike if he wants to play again because we liked.
Yeah, the co-op's
He really
awesome.
likes. He's a handyman professionally.
Oh, he'll love this, dude.
He quit an office job that pays way better to become a person that does handiwork because he preferred it. It was more fulfilling in his life. So, like, this game just, his house lifted off the ground.
Oh, I'll bet it did. He'd love
He
this.
was playing it. Yeah.
Okay, well, now I kind of want to play it. Here's the thing about it, though. Here's the only other thing I'd say about it. It is, what was I going to say? I was going to say something, and I forgot what it was. Well, shit. There you go.
Oh, well.
It was good.
There you go.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Deep
Stuff. Yep, that's what we bring you here. Week after week on Core. Well, anyway, looking forward to that. I don't know what it was. It's going to bug me. That's going to do it for us. Patreon.com/Core Show is how you can support us. We got 2 brand new patrons this week, Jacob GM and Matthew Stein. GM, I don't know if that makes him a general manager. Maybe he runs a D&D game or something. Oh, those are DMs. What am I thinking of? GM.
They can be GMs.
Guildmaster. There you go.
Yeah, it can be the same.
It could be doing all kinds of cool stuff that we don't know about, but we're happy to have both of them here, and they get these cool benefits like not having to deal with commercials ever. There just aren't any. All right, that's the beauty of it. You get a specialized feed on Patreon that is just nothing but pure content. That includes a pre-show that we record here and then put up for patrons, as well as our original video that doesn't stay up for everybody else. It gets pulled down and given to the patrons. Also, I send art in the mail every month. I'm sending some Mario stuff this month. I can't wait for you to get it. So if you want all those things and more, plus a special host episode coming up from me, it's my turn. It's soon. Beau did 2 in a row. I'm late, so
I probably should start working on mine now because the day is coming where it's going to be due.
Sooner than you think. With 3 of us, it does come around fast. Like Film Sack, I'm used to the every
it's only
4.
4 times a year for each of us. It's not that bad.
It really isn't that bad. It's just I forget.
It's just it's not that frequent, so it's easy to forget.
Yeah, but we'd love to have you in there and be a part of that family. Please join us at patreon.com/core show. And thanks to everybody who grabbed a bunch of stuff on the store. I mentioned last week that we were doing kind of a closeout on a ton of items. That sale goes through Sunday night, and then it is gone. So if you haven't grabbed anything, there's some things that sold out, but for whatever's left, if you still want to grab it on the very cheap, you can go to frogpants.com/store because after Sunday, poof, new stuff coming, but none of the old deals will be there. So get it while you can. We're doing this show live every Thursday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means we're doing it on Twitch and YouTube. You can find those links at frogpants.tv. That's going to do it for us. We should hand the mic to Grandma, who will catch us up today on all the games we repeated 500 times, and we'll do one more time.
Well, if you missed it, every 5 minutes we were telling you what it was, so at this point, what are you even doing? But I guess you screwed up. Now you're here and I'm talking to you. So here's the games you missed. Final Fantasy XIV. Questmaster.
Yeah.
That's BZZZT with an exclamation point. You can probably find it without the exclamation point, but god damn it, it's in there. Megacopter Blades of the Godless. John talked about Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I don't know if he sold you on it because he didn't even play it. Beau played Elden Ring, Zenless Zone Zero, and he's got some fancy VR goggles, so if you're excited about that, there you go.
Yeah, that's perfect. You're doing good. We're going to give you extra potatoes at our Sunday dinner next week.
More potatoes.
Yeah, it's good for Grandma to have that stuff in her life. That is going to do it for us. I hope you all have a fantastic gaming week. And when we meet again around the fires of Core, well, we'll have a lot more to talk about then. All right? So let us know your thoughts, your feelings. Keep that feedback coming. 801-471-0462 or talktothecore@gmail.com. That'll do it for us. We'll see you next week.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Telegy Adelegy.
Yeah, one more time.